welcome to Spurs Vision TV. This is our fourth episode today. We'll be having a very special guest today, Mr. Brad Matthews will be joining us, and then we'll be having some more guests from India Spurs, especially from Bangalore, Goa, and Mumbai. Right, Mumbai. Yeah, and shall we start, Jamie?
Yes.
Or have you anything to say? Or should we just bring them in?
All I can say is we are on the cusp, as usual, of getting a new manager, Nuno Espirito Santos. But again, we're still holding our breath. And the most positive thing we can look forward to at the moment is England-Germany on Tuesday. But right now, we want Asian situated and Asian-born Spurs fans, football fans, to open their ears and open their minds, and let's have a good discussion on the state of our team and the fan base in this continent of the world.
Okay. Let me bring in our first guest. He's from Mumbai Spurs, part of the India Spurs family, right? Mr. Advyat. Hi, Advyat. How are you?
Hi, how are you doing?
Yeah. Just let us know about yourself and how do you get into this club called Tottenham Hotspur?
All right, so I'm Advait. I'm 17. I'm from Mumbai. So I got into Spurs about 2 years ago, and I got introduced to Spurs about 4 or 5 years ago. So in India, we have these TV channels which, while they broadcast matches, around 7:38 they start putting these highlight reels, right? So we had what was called as Premier League Net Busters, where they would have these half-an-hour highlight reels of Premier League matches. And over there was when I first saw Son score his goal. So I saw a lot of Son, I saw a lot of Kane, and eventually I got into Spurs. And my sort of proper introduction point, which sounds very, very social media, very, very teenagery, was fortunately and unfortunately the Amazon documentary. Was when very, very interesting for sort of the older generations. But yeah, my first proper introduction was the Amazon documentary, after which I sort of read about Mourinho, I read about the Spurs project, and sort of how Spurs has always been these sort of nearly men and actually never ended up winning. And I found that I related to that sort of almost glory kind of situation a lot. So then ever since I think 1.5 years, I've watched every single match since then. I've been on Reddit and stuff. So yeah, that's how that happened.
Okay. All right, Advyat, I would like to bring in one more guest, Rajiv from Goa Spurs.
Hello.
Hi, Rajiv.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, sir.
Yeah. Nice to see you.
Hello.
All right. Just introduce yourself and let us know how do you get to fall in love with Tottenham Hotspur, right?
Okay.
And just to introduce you, I'm Eugene. Next to me on this box is Jamie, and onto your side is Advyat.
Yes.
Have you all met before?
No.
Okay.
We haven't
met before. All right.
Goa and Mumbai are quite far apart.
Oh, Goa and Mumbai are quite far apart. So that means you first time meeting too. All right.
Yes.
Just give us a short intro.
My name is Rajiv. I live in Goa. I am a seafarer by profession, and it was the year 2008 when I started watching football. Actually, I found this logo very attractive logo, kind of unique logo, like a bird. And then I didn't know head or tail. Yeah, no, I didn't know head or tail about the club also. But then I saw one two matches wherein Robbie King, Aaron Lennon, back in the days they were the big guns for us. So since then, I've been with the club. Never expected a trophy or so,
yeah.
but yeah, ever since
No,
I am with
but
one club.
2008 was when the last time you won a trophy.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
been
yeah.
downhill for you
Yeah.
ever since.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's been a long time.
Robbie Keane with his somersault and popping the guns.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And okay, Soham has messaged me. He'll be late a bit because he's still working. So
Yes.
let me bring in our special guest, Mr. Brad Matthews. Okay, and
Okay.
then from there we will continue.
Hello.
Hi, Brad.
How you doing, Eugene?
Hi.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Yeah. So, Mr. Brad is how I call what we call a fan from the the glory days.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's legacy.
Yeah.
You can say old if you want. It's not a problem.
No, because we're not that far off you. So
Yeah, that's why we can't say that, right? If I say old, that means we're pointing to Jamie and I too. You see?
I look young, but I'm older than I look. Hence the hairline.
Yeah. Okay, Brad. I mean, you're here to let us know how you actually became involved with the club and how you fell in love with the club, and those were actually the days that actually maybe had some merit to fall in love with the club.
Yeah.
And we have two younger generation fans on this side here who have just, been supporting Spurs for less than 20 years, right? So maybe they would like to hear your story.
Right. Well, it's just quite interesting actually seeing the lads sort of how they got into Spurs. You know, the Amazon documentary, Sunday morning, and the logo and that sort of thing. And there's sort of like you've got two ways of getting into Spurs, either that way or you're sort of born into it. And I think, fortunately or unfortunately, maybe these days, I was actually born into it. My father was born in Edmonton, which for any of you that don't know,
my father too.
All right, there you go. We could be related.
My dad Edmonton, my mum Hackney Salvation Army Hospital.
Yeah,
your dad Edmonton, my mum's basically your parents and my parents probably went to school together.
It could be. But, so Dad was born into Edmonton, and like his brother and sister, or my uncle and aunt, are all Spurs family members, all Spurs supporters. I had an uncle, Sid White, who apparently played for Spurs in the 20s. Obviously don't know him. If you check Spurs records, you can actually find his name there. He did play games, so he does exist. So I got into that through my dad, and I always thought that my first Spurs game was in 1968, but I only found out recently in the last 2 or 3 years was that it actually was in 1967. Now, we went to a game against Sheffield United, and we took a couple of buses there, and all I remember is people standing up, sitting down, shouting, whatever. We were in the Park Lane Inn, the old Park Lane Inn in the upper tier, which was seats in those days. And I just remember saying, did we score? Did we score? And we won the game 2-0. I've got no memory of the goals, the game or anything, and just the people standing up, sitting down. I always presumed that was in 1968. It was actually 1 week before the FA Cup final against Chelsea. And the funny thing was I didn't watch the FA Cup final against Chelsea. I was outside in the garden playing with my friends. So it's just really weird. I went to my first Spurs game and then playing in the cup final next week, and I didn't watch it. So it's just really, really weird. So I sort of missed out. England won the World Cup in 1966. Tottenham won the FA Cup in 1967. My first season was 1968. So, yeah, it's just really weird that I sort of missed that. So, yeah, so I used to go to games with my dad every now and again. Be like taking a bus. We couldn't afford a car. Then when we did afford a car, you'd get a car and you'd park literally, so far away from the ground it wasn't real, and had to walk.
Yeah, walking down from Seven Sisters.
Yeah, it was just like, I remember that. And we had sort of games. I remember being against Everton where the floodlights failed and we all had to come home. And there was one instance where there's a guy on Twitter called Kevin Hills. I think he goes under the name Hillsy. He writes a lot of historical stuff about Spurs, sort of old programs. and he published one where 1969 Man City played Tottenham, and it was December, so the ground was bone hard. Someone threw a bottle onto the pitch and it broke, and the players are all picking bits of glass from the pitch.
God.
And he put this picture up of players, and I replied saying, "Oh, I remember that game." And he replied to me was, "Yeah, you were with me," sort of thing. So I looked at, it's Kevin, my old friend Kevin. So so after all those years, I sort of became friends with Kevin again. So those games, the early days, I was lucky enough to see Jimmy Greaves play. I think we had my first sort of season. We had Jimmy Greaves. I saw Steve Perriman's league debut in 1969. He came on as a 17-year-old, or started as a 17-year-old. He's number 11, and Spurs being Spurs, lost at home to Sunderland 1-0. And then the League Cup final in 71 and 73. It wasn't live on TV in those days. I just remember my dad being up in his bedroom listening to the game and sort of pumping, yeah, we scored. And me go, we scored. And I was getting all upset because we were playing Aston Villa, who were like a third division team at the time. We weren't beating them, sort of thing. And then next day you'd watch the big match, and you'd watch the game on the big match and see the highlights. So it was before the days of live football and that. But interesting times. I've got my old programs somewhere. I think I've mislaid them now, but Spurs weren't that much different to what they are now. Always promising to do stuff, but sort of never doing it. But and then in 1973. We immigrated to Australia. We were what they called £10 POMs, which meant that we could immigrate for £10, and they called it assisted passage, which doesn't happen anymore from what I can gather. And
if we only knew now, we
yeah,
could go back in time.
Yeah, but we went over there to Adelaide in South Australia. My uncle and aunt followed us. Actually, my aunt, who's a Spurs supporter, but her husband, my uncle Bill, who was an Arsenal supporter, funnily enough. We all went to Australia. We landed in Christmas Eve, 1973. And then, you're trying to find out the scores of the games. And you used to have a phone service. And you'd ring up this phone service, and it had some real monotone Australian accent saying, with no break between the games. So if it was on a loop, so if you got it in between it, you wouldn't know. It'd be like something like, West Ham 2, Tottenham 3, Arsenal 1. And you're thinking, what was that? Did we just beat West Ham 3-2, or did we beat Arsenal 3? You'd have to work out what it was, sort of thing. And you'd have like the sports roundup on the BBC World Sports Roundup on a Sunday morning, and you might get some sort of highlights. But no, there was no internet, nothing like that in those days. It was very, very difficult. I even used to go to the museum, to go into the newspaper libraries to sort of archive to see. They used to ship over the English papers about a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, later, to see what the teams were. So, it's very, very difficult.
Yeah, it's a lot of hard work.
Sorry?
It's a lot of hard work back in the day.
Yeah,
back in the days, yeah.
I mean,
It's even harder than when we had it. When we had it, it was just like, don't tell me the score, don't tell me the score. You try and avoid the score until you can get home for match of the day. Like,
I still remember those days when we had to watch. We would get any selected matches. Not like nowadays, you get the whole slew of all the matches from every league, everywhere. But of course, you have to pay for it through cable or one of the subscribers providing it. But for say, Brad, when you were in Australia for 20 years, how did you keep in touch with the club and maintain that love and the feeling for it?
It was in the early days. I used to have my friend, Kevin, as I mentioned earlier. He used to send me the occasional letter with loads and loads of clippings in. But then I didn't have many contact with the club itself, because in later years I subscribed to the official program, because they literally had, like, they could send it overseas, sort of thing. So you get it late. You wouldn't get it before the game. But I discovered shortwave radio in about 1978, 77. It was the first season we was in the second division, or the old second division. And I managed to tune into the BBC World Service. They used to have a Saturday special with Paddy Feeney, and it was like basically reports from the games as they were going on. And they might have live commentary of the last 20 minutes of the game of the day. And so I used to listen to that. Early on in the season, it would go on to about 11 o'clock at night. middle of the season, around about Christmas time, it'd be like 1:30 in the morning because time changes differently, and then you'd be literally listening to about 4:30 in the morning, where it would slowly start to fade out, the actual, the reception. And I used to record when the Spurs, because they had one of those old shortwave radio with a cassette thing in. If any of our younger listeners, Google cassette.
Google cassette.
When the Spurs used to come on, I used to click record and record the report. And then I used to get another tape recorder, play back the report and record it onto this master tape. So I literally had a tape of all the reports or what ones they did of that season, a couple of commentary games where I literally used to edit it. I'd literally record a bit of the good bit and then, and I remember the game at Southampton, we had to win, or we had to draw to get promoted. We've been brilliant all season, but Spurs being Spurs, left it to the last minute, And I always remember the commentary that, Barry Daines has got this goal kick. We're deep into injury time. This will be the longest kick Barry Daines will ever take, sort of thing, and then the whistle went and we got through. But so the World Service, and I used to actually coach, I was on a coaching course at the time, and I was like 17, 18. I had to get up at 7:30 in the morning to go on this Sunday morning coaching course. So I'd listen till 4:30, have 3 hours sleep, and then get up to watch it, to go to the coaching course. So, it was difficult. But then as the years went by, you could get the English papers. When it all became digital, they'd send over like a composite of English papers, the UK Mail, the UK Express, I might have had the UK Telegraph, and then you'd get reports of the games in that sort of respect. Then they came out with a magazine called British Soccer Week, which again would have proper reports and teams and that sort of. So it gradually got better and better. And then they started having a few live broadcasts where the local football club would put it on, and you became a member, and you go down to the local football club and watch it at 11 in the evening. What time?
So when did that happen? When it became
that was
live?
about. That was around probably the 80s, I think.
Oh,
It would have been in the 80s, because it might have even been the mid 80s. Because the first time I went to see Everton Spurs at one of these broadcasts, and Spurs were on the attack, and then the picture went. They lost the picture.
It happens. It happens.
Yeah, when they got the picture back, Spurs were all congratulating each other. They'd scored. So,
I remember that kind of feeling. Those were the 80s. All of a sudden, you get a sudden a satellite break or transmission break, and then you get the screen there. What happened? God damn it!
They started to record the FA Cup finals were on live. They do the FA Cup final. Of course, in Australia, it's FA Cup final night. So you'd always have a party around someone's house to watch it. Could come on about 11:30 in the evening. So you'd all go around and have beers and that. And normally, Adelaide was very English. A lot of English immigrants there. So you'd normally have people that would be supporting one of the teams that were playing in the cup final, and you'd all pick a team and that sort of thing. So the 81 Cup final, the 82 Cup final, obviously I watched those live. Well, actually, the 81 Cup final, I actually went round to a football club to watch it. The 82 Cup final, and both, as you know, went to the replay, and the replay would be on at sort of 4:30 in the morning, really sort of ridiculous time.
And I think that was the time when we started to get satellite, transmission to Asia, onto this side of the world, to have live football. Okay, just hold on for a while. I'll need to bring in one more guest, and he's a special guest, and his name is Brian Day. Welcome, Mr. Daigle.
Good morning or good evening to all of you guys. How are you?
And good morning to you. We're all fine here. We're just listening to Brad's stories about the 80s. Yeah.
Hi, Brian.
So,
how you doing, Brad?
Good, thanks. Good, thanks.
You've met, right?
Not met. I've seen Brian on a lot of the, like I've seen you,
okay.
on the THC. Well, actually, most of the YouTube content.
I've been getting about a bit, Brad. Let's just put it that way. I've been like Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman.
Okay.
Well, most people I sort of started seeing the THFC, Tottenham Hotspur fan TV, and you were regular on that, and David Harris obviously, and then got your own channels and appear on your own thing. So yeah.
Yeah. Let me just go around the room or the square boxes and introduce you. Brian, this is Adviat and
How you doing,
Rajiv.
Abhiyat? And Rajiv, how you doing, buddy?
Let me take this off, and then at least you will. I'm a bit non that well technically.
He's not very
that
good
well.
at pointing in the direction of the window that we're in.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm opening back up the screen so Brian can read the names on the screen.
I can,
Okay.
Where am I
can see.
pointing?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
do
your
you know what?
left is your right, and
We
your
have
right
that
is your
problem.
left.
Yeah, I still can't do that.
I can't get used to that. Yeah, right. So let's get back to Brad. So we were saying in the 80s, in part of Asia, that's when we started to get the transmission over for like the EP at the time. No, not even EPL. That was First Division. The time was still First Division, FA Cup, and it was all very selected matches. You know, like only when Liverpool started to play, you get it live, right? And of course, the FA Cup, we get the FA Cup, and that time 80s was what, Worthington Cup. It wasn't even Carling Cup. It was Worthington Cup.
Milk Cup,
Huh?
wasn't it?
That was the early 90s, I think.
Oh, then you go further back. I can't remember the League Cup. Oh, that time it was just called the League Cup, right? Before they branded it or something like that. Yeah.
At one
It
point,
was
it was called
called
the
the
milk.
League
It was called the Milk Cup at one point.
One time it was called the Milk Cup too. Yeah. So we're going back that far, and of course, past the 80s. Then now we reach the 90s. That's of course when we won the FA Cup again, right? In 91. Was it FA Cup? Yeah.
Yes,
91.
FA Cup,
One-
the last time.
the last FA Cup, yeah. In 91, things got a bit better, right? And at that time, Brad, you were still in Australia, right?
Yeah, and I remember the 91 Cup because that was the year we beat Arsenal. And there was no live coverage of the semi-finals, but the Arsenal game, I found out there was a commentary that you could phone up, but it was coming, I think it must be coming from England, and it would cost an arm and a leg. So I sort of phoned it up for a bit, and I think Spurs were 2-0 up at the time. Oh, great, brilliant. I put the phone down, I'm sort of sitting there, and then I phoned it, I sort of worked out what time we were about, say, 10 minutes to go, and I phoned it up, and we were 3-1 up at the time, and I thought, right, I'm going to listen to the end of this, and so I'm listening to the last 10 minutes of that game, and then when the final whistle went, sort of jumping all around the flat sort of thing, and it would have cost me probably 20-25 Australian dollars to sort of get that sort of commentary, but that's what you had to do. But the 91 Cup final, again, Cup final night around a friend's house sort of thing. I actually got the programme for that. You could actually send off and go, I'm not sure where I got it through Tottenham, but I actually got the programme for it. And I think I got it before the game. Which is very unusual. But in the 90s, obviously, things are getting a bit more sort of, sort of as it happens.
Progressive. Yeah.
But yeah, I remember because we used to go around a friend's house, and they were Liverpool supporters, but everyone I think was supporting Tottenham because it was, because you support your mate, it's your mate sort of thing. And I always remember near the end of the game when Spurs are leading 2-1 in extra time, and I always remember a friend of mine going, 5 minutes to glory, Brad, sort of thing. 4 minutes to glory, Brad. And I'm watching that get more and more intense. As I'm sure we all know the feeling. And then of course the final whistle goes, and we win the cup again, sort of thing. But it's a long time ago. It seems like yesterday, but it was.
I have a question for you. Do you think it's really true that the FA Cup is sort of becoming lesser and lesser magical?
I think so. It still means a lot to me. But
Correct, I agree.
Yeah, it definitely, because when I was living in England, cup final day was all day.
Yeah,
all day. You'd switch on at like 11 o'clock or no, probably even earlier, 10 o'clock in the morning, and they go to the hotel where the teams were. And I always remember, I know it's not Spurs related, but the Leeds Sunderland game where Sunderland won. They went to the Leeds hotel and they're really, really tense, and went to the Sunderland hotel and they're all laughing and joking, and they, really relaxed sort of thing. But cup final day used to go on for the whole day, and
there's
what about the one where Brighton played in the final, and they were following Brighton all the way down from the south coast and the helicopters and whatever. So
that was in I was in Australia.
83.
Yeah, I think I was in that's the and Smith must score, wasn't it? Moment.
Yeah.
Where Brighton, it's 1-1, I think, and Brighton, had a chance to score. Because I don't know, a bit off subject, but there's a singer-songwriter I saw at one of the universities from England called Attila the Stockbroker. And he was a Brighton fan, and he actually wrote a song called "And Smith Must Score" based on that moment, sort of thing. But so But yeah, I remember the Brighton final. But now, even now, cup final day now, it's what comes on an hour before the game. It's like and 5 o'clock kickoff. Come on.
I think it's the nature of the coverage, because all the stuff that they would have been doing pre-game and everything like that, we just go click on the computer and we're watching a live stream from a webcam or whatever of whatever they're doing. So the technology has not just made the world smaller, but made the broadcast more accessible. So I don't think the FA Cup's less important. It's just become so accessible that the main terrestrial channels like BBC and whatnot either can't compete with the contracts, or they don't have the need to have the coverage that can now be facilitated in other media.
Yeah, it could well be. I guess, times do change, and you can't sort of hang on to the past, but yeah.
No, we do try.
Ultimately, but 5 o'clock on a Saturday, that's just that's not, that's no. And even one season, it might have even been this season, they had the last league games after the cup final. It's like, no, cup final should be the last game of the season at 3 o'clock on Saturday. And
just like Wayne Bonner says that, I remember those days. It was on both BBC and ITV, right? And always started about 7 a.m. Cup final day. That means and that's when it was an event. Oh, that means that during those days the cup final was a whole day event.
It was
before the game actually starts. Yeah.
But then you can say we're spoiled by the choice that the cable TV and whatnot offers us. People could just flip. Get their flavour of sport. Whereas the cup final, in certainly in Brian's, Eugene's, mine, and Brad's day, it was the sporting event.
Yeah, because ever since I started following Spurs, it's just been a consolation prize midway through the season kind of thing.
It's funny because we're all going about winning the cup, but it is a special day. I mean, the League Cup is it's even below the FA Cup now in people's perception. But hey, when I've seen Spurs win the League Cup, at Wembley against Chelsea, wow, what a feeling that was, And I went back to a pub in South Harrow after the game, and they'd be watching the game. And a lot of people I knew were Spurs fans, and it was like I actually played in the game. That sort of wow, you were there, sort of thing. It's incredible.
Wow. But you also only have stuff like the Marine thing happen only in the FA Cup, so it's still
that was brilliant. That was so good. I mean, the fact that that we all bought our virtual tickets for it, and they actually made more money than what they would have made if the game had gone ahead. But that was great. That was I can say sort of proud of my club, but certainly proud of the supporters of my. And
it's like my first introduction to what cup means. Like,
was it?
The magic of the cup. That was my first proper introduction to it.
Yeah,
over time,
sitting in India, watching it for the last 2 years, like it just seems, but
I mean, over time, me just taking it away from us. I mean, back at that time, the time period we're talking about, the FA Cup was the big thing because there wasn't much else that you could access. Then we had then there came the Premiership, and slowly but surely the claws of the various chairmen dug into the various pies. So I think it was when the game was still pure football. It wasn't the financial merry-go-round that certainly Tottenham's found itself in today.
And also you had the European Cup in those days, which was you could only get into the European Cup if you won the league. So you didn't really have much opportunity to sort of play those sort of.
The UEFA Cup 1984 against Anderlecht. Yay!
Well, that was I was around my girlfriend's house at the time, staying over around my girlfriend's house, and I switched on the news in the morning, and in sports news, Tottenham Hotspur have won the UEFA Cup. So that's how I heard about that. I knew the game was on, but there's no way I followed it, and that was in 1984. So
yeah. Okay, Brad. Just a question from Mayank Periwal. Brad, how is the experience of the new stadium? Right.
Okay.
While comparing to White Hart Lane, was it necessary? Next step.
I think no, I'll lay my cards on the table. I really like going to the new stadium. It's all there. It's like a day out now. You've got your bars and whatever, and you go. I mean, I do drink in the pub before the game, but you got your bars and that sort of thing. And we haven't had many nights where the crowd have been really on top of it. But the Man City Champions League game was like the best atmosphere I've seen at the new ground. The old ground, White Hart Lane, was it's an old lady of a stadium. It's beautiful, and it was really sad to see it sort of knocked down. But unfortunately, it's progress of sorts. And despite look, I'm Levy out and ENIC out as much as the next one, but I think we needed to have a bigger stadium with you could get more people and more money, blah 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 blah. It's just the fact that the more money that they might be making, they're not spending on the players. That's the issue I have. It's the idea was to make more money to actually invest in the team, and that hasn't really happened. So yeah, no, the new stadium, I do like the experience there. Okay, it's not gourmet food, but you've got decent food and decent drink and that sort of thing. And I always said that it's basically like going to a pub that just happens to have a 64,000 seat football stadium attached to it. So it's I do like the new stadium, and I do see what
say something. Okay, no, Brian could wax lyrical about that aspect of it as the football club being a tack on to the stadium.
Yeah, I mean, no, don't get me wrong. When it comes the stadium, Brad is completely right. We've needed it for years. We have needed it for years. But what it was is we were sold a dream. Getting told that it would bring this, it would bring this. Yes. When I was saying all along, because I know what this man is like, that whatever he's saying, don't believe a word of it. Exactly. Whatever Levy says, do the opposite, because that's what happens. Listen, the stadium is. There's no doubt denying it. It's an incredible stadium. The all-seater stand, the stuff that's gone into it. Tottenham needed it to develop.
Yeah.
Old White Hart Lane. I mean, I haven't been to the new White Hart Lane yet. I've been outside it. I've not been inside it, and I'll be outside it for the NFL protests. That's for damn sure. So I'll be home. But White Hart Lane was something special. And the thing is, we needed to move the stadium, but as everyone said, the move couldn't have come at a worst possible time. Because if we had had the opportunity to stay, and then we maybe not say we would have used that money for transfers because we know who's in charge.
Yes, exactly.
But we haven't replaced players that are desperately needed.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And unfortunately, that won't change. But the new stadium, from what I see of it, is absolutely outstanding.
Yeah. Well,
right. Are you back at home now? Do you live back in England?
Oh yeah. No, I've been in England since it's permanently since 1995. So I've been a season ticket holder since 1995. So and I'm the sort of person that renews as soon as they go. The renewal day comes in. So yeah, I lived. There's a couple of. I went through really bad financial problems a few years ago, and for those two, my parents bought my ticket for me a couple of seasons. Bless them. I really appreciate that. And also for 2 seasons, a guy took over my season ticket and basically paid it, and he went for 2 seasons, so I didn't actually lose. Because as you say, with the new stadium with more season ticket holders, once you don't. You're out. That's it. You've gone. You go back to the waiting list, which annoyed me about the COVID thing. Was, why didn't they give people a year off? Say, well, look, we've got this COVID thing, so you can not be a season ticket for a year. Because I paid my season ticket for a season where I didn't go to any games. It's like,
That's really pretty good. Okay, hold on a second, guys. I need to bring in one more guest, and you will find out who it is very soon.
Yes, guys.
The Yid Kid is in the house.
Good evening,
okay,
Daniel.
Okay, Daniel, just to introduce you, I'm sure you know Brian, you know Jamie. I think Brad is the first time you're meeting. And we have 2 guests from India.
David's show.
Hello.
Yeah, I've seen
you spoke before, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and two guests from India Spurs. One is from Goa and one is from Mumbai. And Advet and Rajiv. This is Yid Kid, and he's 13, but he's very, very knowledgeable about the club.
So Advent, you're his big brother.
Yeah.
Advent's also a teenager, but age-wise, he's your big brother. But Spurs-wise, you're his big brother.
Yeah, that's fair.
But Brian, as you were saying, you know what it was when it comes to season tickets. I don't. Any person that renewed their season ticket, I'm not annoyed. I mean, some people are saying I'm not leaving any more money, but the thing is, people that want to renew their season tickets, like you said, you've had it for years and years and years. It's not just a 1 year. Oh yeah, it's something that means something to people, and it's been a tradition where I was a season ticket holder for 10 years before I moved to Israel. And now I live in Canada, so I wouldn't get these. But the thing is, you've got to think at some point this guy is going to go.
Yeah, exactly.
And the people that have kept their season tickets, I know a lot of them that are keeping it just so they can give Levy grief within the stadium. Yeah. Because they want to make their voices heard. Because the people that give up their season ticket, you don't know, the people that are getting them could be very much not just Levy in, but be so happy that they've got a season ticket.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it's, for me, you know, those people keeping their season tickets and are feeling the way that people are. I don't blame them. I mean, every one of them has said they're not going to buy any food or anything in the stadium.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm happy people are renewing because they're the people that we need to stay in and make their feelings heard.
Oh, I'll be singing the first anti-Levy chant that comes out in the first home game without a doubt. You know, it's because it's, and I'll admit to everyone that in past years I have actually sort of not stuck up for him, but got to see what he was doing. But then it's just got more, and as you say, I'm probably about 2 years behind you, Brian. You know, you suddenly think, hang on, these are all lies, these are all dreams that we're not getting, and I've sort of come round to that, and now it's like, no, sorry. And then when you look at it in cold, hard light of day, they've been there for 20 years and we've won one trophy, you know? And like, if you can put that into equivalent of working, doing a job, if you had that bad, you bad at your job for 20 years, you wouldn't be working there anymore, you know? It's,
without doubt.
You know, but as you say about the season ticket, I mean, the Pochettino years, I mean, as I said before, that's what I felt most connected with the club, and my favourite, best Spurs team I ever saw was in the last season at White Hart Lane, the 2017 team. But that was like, I'm not saying, well, it was sort of totally unexpected. Yeah, we get this manager in that done pretty well at Southampton. No one really knows. And then suddenly we have this, to upset a certain person that was on one of your previous shows, we had progress on the Pochettino. We didn't have success. Yeah. We've got a lineup. We didn't have success, but we had progress. And so like I would have missed that. I went to Champions League games. I went to the final. All right, we didn't win the final, but I had all this experience through, the first time in my life I've actually live seen Spurs challenge for a title, and actually have a real chance of it. So, in the next 6 months we could be bought out by whoever, and suddenly, we're the next Man City. Who knows? So you're right. I'm always going to renew. So.
Well, the thing you say with Man City as well, Brad, is you just saying about trophies, one trophy. Man City were bought the year we won our last trophy. And just look at that they've won, I think it's now 17 trophies since we've won one. Yeah. And all right, I don't ask Levy to spend. I'd love him to, but we all know he ain't.
Yeah.
But it's just a joke.
Yeah, I mean, part of me thinks, well, do you need to buy success? But the other part thinks, no, I want success. So
Yeah.
But I think I was saying this the other day. Who's going to buy us? All this debt that you've got to take on. Who's going to buy us?
Brian said it was generational debt. It's not just easy payoff. So that's the thing. That's probably shoring up Levy's tenure, because he knows that it's going to take some kind of galactic financial situation to even think about taking us on.
It's Jeff Bezos, Amazon. That's the only richest
so
person.
The only thing as well is right now I know for a fact that what Spurs fans are feeling is definitely having an impact. So I don't know if you've seen it, Brad, but people are saying that they're like 17,000 or 20,000 in the season ticket waiting list, and they're being offered tickets now because obviously they've gone through that amount of people aren't renewing now. That could be because of COVID. That could be because of COVID and the financial problem. but it could be that everyone's saying, right, okay,
Yeah,
I don't want this anymore. This isn't working. This isn't working. Let's start hitting them in the pocket.
yeah.
So apparently, there's one for sure. I know that they were offered. There was 17,000 something in the queue, and they were offered their season ticket.
Wow,
this
wow,
year.
that's I didn't know that, but wow, that's incredible. It's yeah, because I've got friends. I mean, one of my friends is actually I might ask them that because one of my friends has got, I think it's like 1,400 in the queue. So if that's the case, so as I said, we'll get in contact with the club. You might be able to get a ticket, sort of thing. But yeah, what do you? Actually, I had a question then. I forgot what it was now. Oh yeah, Brian, do you think? I mean, what were they? The Gattuso incident. Do you think that the reason they dropped out of that was because of the trend on Twitter?
Do you know what? I think Matt Hayes has been doing an incredible, and I do mean incredible job with this. And obviously, this Gattuso thing, this was Levy wanting the cheaper option. That's all it was. It's just like he did. We all know this. I mean, I'm not gonna. I have to be careful because I suffer with Levy Tourette's, and I don't want to swear.
Really?
I don't want to swear. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
just
we have
There are a lot of
one.
minors in the square boxes.
yes. So,
Advent 17, he's no longer a minor.
Oh, wait, no, 18 is when you consider an adult in Asia.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
we have
Yeah,
two minors.
18. Until he
Because
can go
in
and buy a
UK,
drink
16,
legally,
right?
he's still a minor.
what we got to do here, Brad,
Yeah.
with the Gattuso, I think it was definitely the meeting was definitely had. The meeting was 100% had, but what I don't understand with Spurs, or actually what I do understand because I don't understand it, is we went for Mourinho where he spends money and we were never going to give it to him. We go for Paratici or whatever his bloody name is, and then he's a guy that, yes, he gets free transfers, but he takes full control and he buys people like Ronaldo at big money. That's not going to happen. And then it's like, let's go for Gattuso, who's a racist womanizer or sexist. It's like, so what you got to be careful with as well, as Matt Hayes said, and I fully agree with Matt with this no to Gattuso worked, not because we just didn't like him as a manager, because what he did with these sexist and racist sayings, but also what he did to Joe Jordan during the Champions League.
Yeah.
And this hashtag meant something. Now thing is,
Yeah.
the thing is, people are saying now, after it was Nuno, now don't get me wrong, I am not happy if we get Nuno. It just puts an end to the biggest circus ever. But there's no to Nuno, and it's like, that no to Nuno, yes, I understand the frustration. I am a frustrated fan. But if we keep saying no to this, no to this, no to this, no to this, it's going to get diluted.
Yeah, no, totally agree.
But another problem with
the
whole Gattuso thing was they were already in contact with Fonseca, so they sort of blindsided him completely, which wasn't good faith.
No,
We're doing that with Nuno now.
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean, I did the no to Gattuso hashtag for those very reasons of
I was on Reddit all the time
because of all the stuff that he'd been involved in, and I thought, well, and it was just so against the so-called values of our club.
Exactly.
What are they thinking of?
DNA.
The no to, and I saw what Matt said about the no to Nuno. I thought, well, that's totally agree with you on that one, Brian, and what Matt said. But so that's why I have.
I'm still convinced that I'm going to call it here. I called it on my show on Friday at the two Brians. I've got a bet with the other Brian that this Nuno deal will go dead on the England-Germany day. Because that's the smoke screen they'll do it under. They'll do it under England winning or losing, because who'll care about Tottenham because England are if it's the England winning way, fantastic. Everyone will be annoyed, but everyone will be too drunk or whatever celebrating beating Germany. If we lose, he's got a hell of a. But I'm telling you now, I think he is just waiting for Roberto Martinez to go out, and then Martinez will be straight away bang new manager. That is what my call is.
What do you think about Martinez as the next man?
Well, the worst thing is, if you look at it, all his teams, apart from Belgium, and let's face it, Belgium are like the Galacticos.
Belgium.
In the Premier League, Martinez can't defend.
Yeah.
And if you look at us, we can't defend with Mourinho. So God knows what we're doing with a manager that can't defend.
Do you think though that if we had decent defenders, we could be okay. Like, I mean, is he that sort of coach? Because he's done, as you say, he's done really well with Belgium because he's got bloody decent players. So if we had, I'm not saying we're going to be buying any decent players anytime soon. Certainly not in the centre back situation. But I just wonder whether he might be able to do something if we had decent players. I mean, I was always Pochettino and then Conte, and then ever since. But that's it. They brought your expectation levels up.
Yes.
With any other manager after that, I don't want him, sort of thing. So it's like, and that's it. Someone sent me an article today saying that they won't go for whatever your feelings about Harry Potter, as David calls him. Whatever you go about Graham Potter, he's got something like a £20,000 or £15,000 buyout clause, and they say, "Oh, Spurs won't do this because they haven't got any money." And I'm thinking, well, all these news things are reporting on
20,000.
Oh, something like that. Or it might have been £15,000. It was a big amount. But they're all saying, "Oh, Spurs won't do it because they ain't got any money."
20,000?
The same news broadcasters saying that are connecting us with all these players. So how are we connecting with all these players if we got no money? It's crazy. It's crazy.
He's a walking, talking contradiction.
Yeah. So it's one of those. I'm sort of got to the stage now where it's like, what can you do? It's just go to the games and support the team and boo Levy when he sits in his seat or whatever it might be. I
can't wait to be there. I can't wait to be there for the NFL protest. Boy, am I going to be loud.
Yeah.
Okay, on the boy point, can we get Daniel to have his little four-penneth? So you kid, what do you got to say on everything?
Well, to me, I think the problem is the fan base a little. Because the thing is, I don't know if most of you guys probably know, my birthday was not too long ago. My mom gets me a Tottenham jacket from the Tottenham official store, and I get mad at her because Daniel Levy just gained 12 pounds. Like, this is the mentality we need to have. No money needs to be going.
You must be getting a discount.
Yeah. They just gave 12 pounds for Daniel Levy to get on his yacht. So, like, pretty much, I don't want no money to go into this club. But the problem is this fan base is so mixed. There's so many ENIC ins, so many ENICs out. And I think the problem with us, the ENIC outers, is the message. I mean, the message is there. The message is ENIC out, and it's a strong message. But the messaging is the problem. We need to get to those ENIC inners and those people that I don't think there's much anymore. But the people that are okay with ENIC and okay with Levy and okay with almost getting Glory and Mr. almost buying great players and almost getting Conte and stuff like that. We need to be having the fan base more united in these situations where we can get, like
all over the world.
I mean, I don't know the word, but like more unity for the fan base in this situation. Like more, like because we're so mixed in the emotions right now that we're never gonna fix these situations if we don't get united.
Yeah, you know what it is, you kid. When it's, sorry, just very quickly. When it's going to change, and what a lot of people are saying is there are a lot of Levy people on the fence, and from what I'm understanding, a lot of those Levy on the fence are going to go one way or the other the day the transfer window shuts. If the transfer window shuts and the players that Paratici was allowed to bring in aren't there, or people we wanted aren't there, or if like we sell Kane like we did Keenan Berbatov and get someone like Fraser Campbell in return, the day that transfer window shuts is the day where we see where I think that's the day where clarity is discovered.
Yeah. Okay, right.
I'll be back in 2 takes, guys.
Hold on.
Precisely. That is the thing.
Let's get the view from Avet and Rajiv because they are from the India Spurs side, and one is from Mumbai and one is from Goa. Let's see what is their sentiment, and maybe if they have where do they stand on the fence of this, whether they're in, out, or in the middle. See, there's a message here saying that from Mayank Periwal, right? Levy hasn't taken out money, but he has done everything to increase the value of the club. Not for success on the pitch. Hopefully with the DOF, this will change. So let's digest on that. And what's your feeling about this Levy in, Levy out thing, Advet? Aviat?
I think he's frozen.
All right, look.
Oh, he's frozen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Rajiv,
you guys hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Aviat. You go first, then Rajiv next.
Okay,
All right,
I feel that
look, I don't like
Daniel
Levy
Levy.
either. Okay, Rajiv, go ahead.
Oh no,
Sorry,
go ahead. Aviat, go ahead.
All right. So I don't like Levy either, but I'm very afraid that it doesn't get better than this. I am very afraid that it doesn't get better than this in terms of club ownership. And that is a sentiment people may not agree with, but I feel like who's going to buy a club like Tottenham and then run it better, right? Like either we end up like Man City, which isn't bad, or we get another ENIC, which isn't going to invest in the club. So I feel like the ENIC out people, although I agree with the message of ENIC, I don't think we have a solution to the problem yet. So yeah, that's where I come from. If you guys have something like what happens after you remove ENIC, like what happens after you depose the king, who comes in charge, right? That is what I'm very afraid of, is that there is an ENIC out crowd. ENIC goes out, what happens next to Tottenham? And I don't think there is a coherent solution yet. So yeah.
What do you think, Rajiv?
I just think we need a change. We need a change because after all these years we have these good players. They come, they wait, they grow obviously, and they are sold, and they are wasting years over here. They are wasting their career staying here. No ambition to really establish ourselves, which we could have done, I think, very easily. But hence the owner has failed, our chairman has failed with the funds. I think he's running a company for money and not for the prestiges of winning trophies. Okay, as a businessman, I think he's doing absolutely fine. He's an excellent businessman, but from a fan's point of view, we need, we demand a bit more. We demand something more ambitious, something to go ahead. But I don't. After all, like we had said, that also stands. But I feel we need a change.
The dream for me is we get someone like the Leicester owner who actually cares about football, but then also sort of. But
Yeah.
But the thing is that now with technology in hand, right? You can see actually the fans are actually rising up. Okay.
yeah,
And do you think fan power will be able to enforce that change?
it did mess up the ESL, so there's that.
Okay. Yeah, that's the part. That's why
It's not been messed up. It's been delayed.
Yeah.
it's been delayed. Yeah. Right. So it's like for Brad. I mean, during your generation, you've been through. You've seen the up and down of what happened through the scholar years, and maybe scholar years a bit too far off. The sugar years, right? The sugar years was quite a tipping point before ENIC came in, correct? And of course, when ENIC came in to take over from Sugar, we all thought Levy and ENIC were the savior. But now, after 20 years, of course, we have not gone bankrupt or we have not been relegated, right? But somehow or another, the club has lost its ambition to grasp glory, right? And it's very, very obvious now. We see that all the statements that's been coming out from our chairman and his video interviews, his program statements and all that, and somehow or another, everything that he does, right, is contradicting his words that he's been saying. So why aren't the fans being awakened to this nonsense that's being played?
I don't know. It's difficult. I think with as far as the Levy in, Levy out brigade, I don't think it's so much as Levy in. It's sort of non-committal, so like don't care, whatever sort of thing. And I think the real Levy out people and ENIC out, I think the extreme, I don't think that it's as big a movement as the ones that are in the middle that probably are Levy out, but they won't say anything. So I think you've got to get the middle ground. It's like politics. You have to win the middle ground to do anything. So, you know, the ones that are on one extreme and the other extreme, you forget about them because they ain't going to change. They're there, but it's the middle ground that you've got to go. How you do that? I mean, I'm sort of reasonably new to this YouTube generation, that sort of thing. How you do that, I don't know. But certainly at the moment, you can see Tottenham content providers literally 24 hours a day because they're coming from all around the world. And they all seem to have the same sort of attitude towards what's going on at Tottenham. So if you have more and more people subscribing to them and doing that, maybe that will have some effect. You're literally going to have an empty stadium for the first home game to have any effect on Levy, I think. You know, because I think they seem to be, it seems to be oblivious to what's going on at times. You know, and Spurs social media crew have actually, believe it or not, more or less, I think they've improved a little bit. When we had the signings and they had the Matt Doherty and the Arsenal thing and delete, they actually were sort of getting involved. So they must see what's going on. He must have some advisor saying, "Hey, Daniel, you ought to see what's going on." You know, and it just beggars belief how he's not seeing what's going on. And I mean, the other thing is that this has only been in the last 5 or 6 years that this has suddenly started to come to a head. For the simple fact that the biggest error he ever made, apart from sacking Pochettino, was that he didn't back him when Pochettino wanted the new players. Pochettino had been going on for a season and a half, maybe 2 seasons, about the painful rebuild. And if you look at that Tottenham team in 2017, if you actually go from 1 to 11, the players are so good. We had, Walker and Rose are probably 2 of the best fullbacks in Europe at that time. You had Vertonghen, Alderweireld, but they were getting on, and you had to replace them. Walker left. Luckily, Trippier was actually a reasonable replacement. But then Rose with his injury, and then you had Davies, who, for all his critics, again at Wembley, the first season at Wembley, was actually had the most assists for a fullback in that season. So he had it, but he would never try to replace them. And then and that's what happened. And he never backed Pochettino. And then obviously when things started to go wrong, which is why it was, and I think the team was the Champions League final loss was it. That literally destroyed that team. I think that was it. That was the end sort of thing. But that was too late by then because we hadn't replaced these players. And we're always looking at this plan, looking at that plan, looking at this plan, the players we could have had, and because we won't give that extra little bit of money. This is what annoys me the most about Levy. He always wants, it's like he's got this massive ego. Oh, no, I want to do this deal and that deal and this deal, and I want to do this, that, and that. I don't know if you saw an interview with Peter Crouch or a thing on Peter Crouch. Peter Crouch was at Tottenham and he wanted to finish his career at Tottenham, even though he wasn't playing first team football. He said, I'm home now. I want to finish here. Daniel Levy called him in. So I've had a £10 million offer from Stoke. And Peter Crouch said, no, I want to stay here. And I've had this offer. So for £10 million, and it's all money and getting that final deal. And it's just so annoying, the players that we missed out on because he won't pay that extra bit. It goes back as far as Robbie Keane. Robbie Keane was being, at the time, the next George Best is being called, He was at Wolves, and I think he was something like £600,000 or whatever it was, and we wouldn't pay that. We offered £500,000, and I think he ended up going to Coventry. So Coventry, no offence to Coventry, but they outbid us. It's incredible because of that extra 100,000. Oh no, we won't get that extra bit, and I think that's what annoys people. Going back, there's a video out, I'm sure we've all seen it, where we go through, I think We Are Tottenham TV went through all the players that we've missed out on because Levy screwed it out.
Very small amounts of money.
And it's sad, it's heartbreaking. Even to the modern day, Grealish we could have had.
Yeah.
The real Fernandes.
Dybala.
Yeah, Dybala. It's like,
Mate, we got Jensen Fernandez instead of Bruno Fernandes. That just shows you how Daniel Levy works.
Exactly, because we won't pay that extra bit, and it's we're not poor. Okay, we haven't got the multi-millions like the Man City says, but we're not poor. All right, yeah, a lot of it is in in capital and not capital in assets and that sort of thing. But we're not poor. I'm sure.
Diaz.
Yeah, it's like someone said about the difference of, I don't know how true it was, the £2 million, £3 million salary for Conte. Someone made the point, you'd make that from food and drink sales in 2 or 3 games, So it's the real, that's the real thing that irks me about what's been going on at Tottenham at the moment. It's the fact that we You know, and Levy as a businessman with the stadium, the training ground, yeah, fine. Organising the loans, yeah. Keep out of football. You know, stay out of that bit.
Yeah.
Give
Stay
the
out
new
of the
manager,
transfer signings.
give the manager right. Say, okay, here's your budget. So many million, whatever it might be, 100 million, 50 million, whatever it might be. You spend it how you want.
Yes,
So
exactly.
if the new manager has £100 million and using this as an example and says, "Oh, I'm going to buy," I forgot his name now, the guy at Liverpool, centre back for £75 million.
Van Dijk.
Van
Van
Dijk, Van
Dijk.
Dijk.
So if you want to buy,
Just hold on for a while. Aviat, you have to go now, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Just let us know how we can find you, how we can contact you, and what other things are you doing? Are you doing anything on YouTube? Just a plugin or anything before you leave?
No, I have a very normal life. I'm 17. I go to school and that's it. So yeah,
Okay.
nothing
So,
to plug in.
but are you active on Twitter or anything?
No, I'm not. I hate social media. Which
Oh,
is
that's a
not
good
something
thing.
you
No,
hear a
no,
17-year-old say.
Oh,
Not
that's
even
good, that's
Mumbai.
good.
Not even Mumbai Spurs.
I follow their account and stuff, and I'm involved with the Mumbai club. That's about it. Yeah.
Mumbai Spurs Twitter.
Yeah,
Send him a
yeah.
message.
So we have an Instagram account called Instagram
okay.
Mumbai Spurs.
Okay.
Yeah, you should
All right.
follow that if you want to be a part of the club. And there's a WhatsApp group too, and there are meetups which are organized once in a while to watch
Okay.
matches live. So if anyone from India wants to get in on that, you can.
All right.
Yep.
Okay. If you have to leave, we won't take time from you some more. Take care and hope to see you again the next time.
Nice
All right.
meeting everyone.
See you, buddy.
Nice meeting you.
Bye.
Bye, Viet.
Bye.
Sorry, Brad. Back to you. All right.
yeah, I mean, look, I mean, what I'm saying is not, you know, it's not. I'm sure we've all had the same thoughts, but yeah, it's that sort of, yeah. Give the manager, here's your budget. You spend it how you see fit. You know, we all laughed when Van Dijk went to Liverpool for 75 million. I thought, 75 million for a man. That guy won them the title. He won them the Champions League, certainly against us. And I was at the final, and both teams were awful that day. Yeah, we had the bad decision with the penalty, but both teams were awful that day. But there was a moment where Son was through on goal, and you think Son's going to score, and he got that last-ditch tackle in. And then you had the moment, where, I mean, he was man of the match. Brilliant. He was the difference between the two teams.
Yeah.
You know,
And
and
it's
so,
the ambition.
75 million, yeah, 75 million. I think they spent money on Alisson as well, didn't they, the goalkeeper?
They did.
Yeah.
They did.
Spending that extra bit of money has got all this success. And Levy's supposed to be a brilliant businessman. Why doesn't he see this?
So,
It's like-
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going on a bit here, but it's like when he could have bought Fernandes but didn't want to pay the money. Fernandes could have got into the Champions League. We're 7 points off it, or the previous season, so many points off it.
Yes.
You go in the Champions League, you're guaranteed £50 million for just playing in the group stages. We made £100 million from getting to the final. Not saying we're going to get to the final every year, but surely by just paying that little bit extra, and and why doesn't he doesn't see that? I don't get it. I really don't get it.
You know what
So,
scares
brother,
me though?
Go,
Yeah,
go,
on.
you kid. I'll go after you, you kid.
You know what scares me though? Next season we're probably going to be looking at it and we're probably going to be like, we could have had Koundé.
Okay,
That's what scares me.
That one I need to let you know. I've just done a tweet about it. Breaking news. It was actually a ENIC typo. We're not going for Koundé. ENIC are buying a new condo. So let's get that one out there. That's a typo from ENIC. So we know what their PR are like. But yeah, there's three transfers that you've just, or one of them you've just mentioned. I'm going to go through very quickly the stories with them. The Van Dijk one shows the difference between a real club and us, because if you look at it in the summer transfer window, they were going for Van Dijk and they were offering way too low. And then Van Dijk did the unthinkable and put in a transfer request to try and force it. And when Liverpool knew it weren't going to happen, they said to Jurgen Klopp, do you want us to go and get you another defender? This money is here. Let's go get you another defender. He goes, no, I want Van Dijk. So the window closed. 2 days before the window opened, Liverpool phoned Southampton and said, do you know what? Listen, we screwed up. Klopp wants him. What's your price? They said 75 million. Didn't even bulk at it. There you go, 75 million. Yeah. The day before the transfer deadline day, he's at Liverpool. And on January the 1st, when it's opened, he's there holding a Liverpool scarf.
Yeah.
So you got that one. Then you look at Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish, Aston Villa were about to go bankrupt. They were in a similar position we were in with when Sugar came in and saved us. They wanted what the fee gets tossed about, whether it's 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever. And he offered 3 million less than Onuma. This is a club, an institution that's about to go bankrupt. Tottenham are sitting pretty in financial terms, and you couldn't just say, here you go, for that type of player. And again, we know what happened. A billionaire came and took him over. And today I see they're linked with Tammy Abrahams, Aston Villa, from Chelsea. And it's like, wait a minute, you've got Abraham. What's his name? Is it Abrahams, the Aston Villa striker?
No, what you mean. What's his name?
The Brentford
Watkins.
guy.
Tell me,
Watkins.
no.
Watkins, that's it, Watkins. It's like they've got Watkins, but wait a minute. You're looking at getting Tammy Abrahams in. If it's a rumour at the moment, but it's like, well, that's nice. You've already got a striker and a backup striker. We're about to lose the best striker in the world, and we're doing nothing. And the final transfer, as you all brought up, was Fernandes. Fernandes wanted to come to Spurs.
Yeah.
He wanted to come to Spurs, but Levy was like, right, we've got to get Eriksen out the door before we can bring in. It's like, well, why don't you bring in Fernandes to be alongside Eriksen? Because Eriksen may stay when he sees someone with the quality of Fernandes come in.
Yeah.
And then also, when the guy goes, we don't go looking for his replacement. He's here.
True. Yeah.
It's like, why are you doing this? And the one thing that annoys me, and it's the biggest thing I hate. Well, no, I can't say that. There's many things I hate about him, but the way we buy things. One of the things they always say is we buy young for a resale value.
Yes.
I don't care about why is it we go in to buy a player, and before we even sign him, we're thinking, how much can we get for him if it doesn't work? How about, like I say all the time, Daniel Levy goes for lumps of coal to try and turn them into a diamond and sell them at a diamond price. Whereas, why don't we just buy a couple of diamonds?
Yeah.
Financially, yes, it's a bigger outlay, but the revenue it generates, and as we all say, the brilliant businessman, I just don't get it. I just don't understand it.
That's spot on.
They've heard you, Brian.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. I just honestly, and like everyone says, he's meant to be this great businessman. He lives off, and I'll tell you now, he lives off the Rafa van der Vaart transfer on deadline day. When not even Harry Redknapp knew he was coming in. Obviously, we all know Rafa was. I mean, when we signed Rafa, that was a world-class signing.
Brilliant,
out of the blue. Yeah. And that's the thing. Even then, not one single person knew about it. Sky Sports, I remember it clearly, just broke. Oh, shattering news! Spurs have broke Rafa van der Vaart. It was like, hello.
Yeah.
But Brian, that was 10 years, more than 10 years ago.
Yeah, but he lives off it.
Yeah.
He still goes to the pub and goes, do you remember that time I bought Rafa van der Vaart expecting a drink?
What I think what has happened with Levy now is like this, all right? He is a fan at heart. When he first took over the club, he wanted to run it like a fan, right? So when he runs it like a fan, he maybe blocks out a lot of things and he sees a tunnel vision that what he wants to do. Okay, remember, when you're saying that he likes to bring the players in, turn the lump of coal into a diamond, right? What has happened this past 3 to 4 years, right? He hasn't actually sold any of the deadwood. Why is he hanging on to all the deadwood, right?
Because he's part of the deadwood.
He's part of deadwood, I understand, but because he can't get the right price for them, right?
Yes.
In the beginning of...
not the right price. He can't get his price.
Yeah, that's the price that he wants, okay? So, for example, Sissoko was supposed to be linked to Napoli, correct? He was supposed to go there, right? I think Napoli wanted to pay 13, 15, but he wanted 30.
Oh,
right, so
also Eugene,
that's ridiculous.
What they wanted is they wanted to go on loan for a year as well, but Levy couldn't agree on the loan fee. But what you got to remember with this as well is this great businessman doesn't seem to work out that every time he doesn't get his price and another year goes down on their contract, you're devaluating them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And right now,
the value goes down.
Right now, we need to get players out, especially foreign players, if we want to bring in a Sabitzer or who isn't coming. Not a chance in hell.
Yeah.
But if we want to bring in foreign players, we have to get rid of foreign players. And you most importantly, have to get them off the wage bill.
Yeah, true.
But he doesn't see it.
So that's why it now comes to the question, right? Like Mayank Periwal asked, right? Question for everyone. One of the remaining options, who is your choice of manager? Just one. But the thing is that choice of manager, right? How many managers have rejected us outright this season, right?
Yeah.
We've been going on all the YouTube streams and all that, right? We've always been the butt of the joke of everybody, all the other clubs. But now
Deservedly.
now they're starting to pity us. So that is worse than being the butt of the joke.
Indeed,
Right.
indeed.
Yeah. So that's why I'm saying, like for Rajiv here in India, I'm sure there are more MU fans, Liverpool fans, City fans, Chelsea fans, and Arsenal fans out there than Spurs fans in India. Correct?
Yes. I
Yeah.
mean, yes, sir. I would like to say when I started out as a Spurs fan, they would ask me what is Tottenham Hotspur. I haven't heard of them, and yes. I mean, serious is it said, but when Gareth Bale was sold, so it was like he sold from Tottenham Hotspur. So that time people kind of started getting to know about. Okay, Tottenham Hotspur. Yeah, that is the club which Rajiv supports. Okay, it's fine. So that is the situation because in India the fan following goes like if you have a wallet, if you have a jersey or whatever, if you have a ball, like that. But now in the recent years, yeah, there are a decent number of fans in India who support Tottenham and in Goa too. Yeah.
How many fans do you have in Goa now?
Official fans, we are almost
Thanks.
38 something.
Huh?
I have to check again.
But, of
Registered
course,
fans.
Registered fans. Unofficial?
Yeah.
I think they're more than that, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. They are.
I mean, it's
Oh,
very
okay.
simple. If you do, like you said, if you do a gathering to watch the match, the Spurs fans turn up, you can count the head. Maybe there's 50 or 100 there. Yeah,
Easily.
very easy.
Easily.
Yeah,
Yeah,
easily.
I remember the final we had watched Champions League final against Liverpool. No, there was this big place. This screening was going on. There were two rooms, one for Liverpool and one for Tottenham. There were all noisy fans out there. Liverpool guys are really loud, and our guys like hardly 18 guys something with t-shirts and all, and we are there. But now it is increased. Now the fans have increased, number of fans.
That's good. That's good. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Brad, back to you. After coming back from Australia, and you've been back since 93?
95.
95, yeah.
Permanently, yeah. 95
Yeah,
permanently.
since 95. So I'm sure that you've seen from 95 until now, and that is more or less, you can say, during the Levy times and ENIC times, right? Apart from the stadium and all that, right? What do you feel that the club has given you as a fan? Do you feel that Levy has given you back something, or you just feel that you've been putting, to tell the truth, all the home-based fans are the fans who actually spend their money physically. For us fans who are international, to tell the truth, I don't have to buy directly from the Levy shop. I can go down to the street and just get a replica Spurs shirt or something. But
Well, mate, is it official though? It might be an overrun.
But for the Spurs fan, home-based Spurs fans, they spend the money there, correct? And if you don't get your value back, don't you feel a bit like, oh, what's going on?
Well, I think as far as value is concerned, or getting your money's worth, I don't think that really applies to a football fan, because if I had to, it's like betting. How much would you pay to, like, it's betting on the other team? I did this actually in the Champions League. No, it's when Chelsea played in the Champions League final against Bayern Munich, and if they won, Spurs would be out of the Champions League. And I actually put money on. I thought, how much would I pay to put money, to see my team in the Champions League? And I put money on Chelsea winning on penalties. So I thought I'll pay that sort of money, and then at least if they win on penalties, I'll get my money back. I made about 9,500 quid out of it. But to me, I'd rather have gotten the Champions League. I'd rather Chelsea had lost and the money I outlaid just gone. So I don't think value for money is it's you want your team to win. And it's all, football's all about emotion. It's all about that feeling when you win and you walk down. If Spurs have a good win, I'll walk down the streets, the shops, or whatever next day, and I'll be walking, with my Spurs top on. Hey, I'm a Spurs fan, And yet now it's like when you lose and how it's going now, I think, I've got Spurs hat on, sort of, who's laughing at. And so I don't spend a lot of money, if any, in the Spurs shop, to be honest. But yeah, it's all about that emotion. Everyone invests in that feeling, and that I mean, that feeling, that heartbeat. When you're 1-0 up, and especially last season, when you're going in the last few minutes and you get up tight, and then when they do equalise, as they did many times, it's like and I've wanted to smash things. When we lost to Liverpool at Anfield, I was so upset.
Yeah.
I have smashed things.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You have smashed things. What about Brian? How many? Brian smashed a lot of things.
If Brian smashed his iPad into the...
as I said on the Yid Kids channel, I tried to throw my iPad out the window here in Canada, but I forgot that seeing that the windows open up this way and not that way in England, they've got like this mesh outside the windows to stop the flies getting in. So I threw it and it bounced back and it cracked my rib. But I've done Tottenham have made me lash out and smash a lot of things. But do you know what? You talking about that Chelsea game, Brad, reminds me the second after Chelsea Drogba scored that winning penalty. My dad sent me a text that summed it up perfectly. He said, "Son, I'm sorry, I made you support Tottenham. They are the only team in the world that can lose a game that they weren't even playing in." And I was like, "Do you know what? That honestly just sums everything up with us. Only we can lose a game that we didn't even play in. It's just I don't know how that's possible, but it is. But
come third in the 2-horse race,
yeah, exactly. It's like, and again that one. So there you go. There's another thing that happened under Levy. But what you got to look at it as well is, like you said, 1995 was my first season ticket. So I went to a lot of the year that Klinsmann was there, the 94-95 season, but the 95-96 season was my very first season as a season team, where we replaced Jurgen Klinsmann with Chris Armstrong. Which don't get me wrong, his first season was phenomenal, and it was my first North London derby I went to, and that still was during sugar time. And Chris Armstrong scored the winner, so he'll go down for me as a hero.
I might have been at that one, yeah.
So it was basically the season. You'll know for sure. It was the season after Naeem scored for the halfway line. So when Seaman started coming our way, we started singing, "Let's all do the Seaman, let's all do the Seaman." So yeah, I mean that was fantastic. But the thing is, you look at it as well, and it's something I want to bring up with Lee as well, when they were saying that things he does for the fans. Everyone was, whether you like Jose Mourinho or not, that man should have been had the right to manage that final. Whether he was going straight after or not, because of his pedigree, because of his record. But you got to remember, this isn't the very first time that Levy's done this. Levy came in and bought the club when we had George Graham. Now, don't get me wrong, he's an Arsenal, whatever. He won us a trophy in the 1999 Cup final. But his first move to try and win the fans was to sack George Graham and bring in Glenn Hoddle. Which, don't get me wrong, that is a stroke of genius, because you're taking out an ex-Arsenal and you're bringing, to a lot of people, and probably, to me it's Paul Gascoigne, but the greatest player to play for Spurs.
Yeah.
But he did that 6 days before an FA Cup semi-final with Arsenal.
It did. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I forgot about
that.
And
it's like, why? And it's like, why are you doing this? Whether you wanted to bring him in at the end of the season, and then probably you wouldn't have pissed off Southampton so much. I mean, Glenn Hoddle, apparently he had it in his contract that, listen, you can say no to any club, but if Tottenham come in, there has to be like some kind of fee. I can go to Tottenham. But why are you doing this 6 days before? I can understand why he did it, because he kind of thought, I know what, if I sack a Gooner and bring in God, I'm going to look good. But he did it 6 days before a final.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Semi-final.
Semi-final. Sorry, you kid. Very well said, you kid. Thank you.
Was that his first? Actually, was that his first game in charge?
That was Glenn Hoddle's first game in charge. Spurs Arsenal FA Cup semi-final.
Yeah.
No pressure at all.
Yeah. Crazy. I totally forgot about that. But you're right. Yeah, and he did that. Yeah. Wow.
And then you look at what he did to Martin Jol. I mean, Martin Jol was the that was the cut-off for me. That was when this ship turned. So yeah, I mean, again, with Wait, thank you. I love Wayne Bonner. He's everywhere, but I do love. I cannot wait to meet him when I'm back home for the NFL protests. But he's just had a horrible track record. I mean, even with Hoddle as well. Hoddle wanted to bring Dean Richards, the late great Dean Richards, and he just. I've never known a chairman where they go, do you know what? This is the price. Okay, here's the price. I don't know. I grow beards by the time. I mean, that transfer for Vertonghen, who is my second favourite player, and George Kevin Nkudu.
Oh God, yeah.
I age, but these deals took like 3 months. I don't know a club that finds this acceptable.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Ndombele one, didn't we eventually pay the price they asked anyway? Which is the same as Fernandes. Fernandes went to Man United for the price they were asking anyway. So most of these deals they end up paying what they've been asking for them. So why all this brinkmanship? The other thing I will point out or say is that I think now the other clubs, they're used to Levy now. So they won't budge. You know, so we'll send him somewhere else. You know?
Well, with Ndombele, he had to because we hadn't bought a player for 18 months. So if he hadn't agreed for the fee, it'd be like, now you're taking the... but it's just even like with Skriniar. They said 45 million, and he goes 32 and a half. They go, no, 45 is 45. Come back 2 days later, 32 and a half million. He thinks they're going to bow to him.
Yeah. Well, they forgot.
And we all know Inter need the money now.
Yeah.
And he's just a moron.
I think what you say is now it's karma time, right? So it's how you say. Whatever Levy does, I don't think he's going to get it easy because he's screwed over so many people in this 20 years in his dealings, and nobody's going to give him half a chance, right? People are going to squeeze him back now, and especially now with us, the fans, jumping on his back. So he's feeling the pressure, okay? And he's starting to make a lot of stupid mistakes, correct? Right? Coming out with statements that he can't back, doing a video thingy, which he's like, everybody thinks it's all bullshit. Excuse my expression, right?
It's fine.
So, what will be the next Levy step, right, that will actually push the fans over the skywalk? All right. So, like now, all of us are always asking, who is the manager coming in? To tell the truth, we don't even have to talk about the players first, correct?
Exactly.
I always think that the manager must come in because the manager must be able to click with the player before he can get the best out of the players, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. If you can't do that, right, which player is going to come in? That's the biggest question. And as you can see now, all the players that we've been linked to, right, are actually just smoke and mirrors again. It's just something that Levy is just throwing out there to make sure that the fans know, maybe to show the fans that, we're going for somebody.
Yeah.
Correct? Yeah. And
Eugene, sorry, but I've got to go. The wife has woken up. I've got to look after her today because she had her second. She had her second jab, so I've got to be Nurse Brian today. So
okay, Brian. First thing is condolences to your situation
thank you
and all that, and congratulations to the other situation that you got your thing too. So I think
that was very cryptic. That was very, very, very cryptic. It's like let's just break that code. So unfortunately, on this time last week, my wife's cousin died in very atrocious death, and the funeral was on Tuesday because we're Jewish. We very quickly.
It was your birthday.
Tuesday just happened to be my birthday and anniversary. So unlike 4 weddings and a funeral, I had birthday, anniversary, and a funeral. So we're there, and then Friday I got a job that I've been working damn hard to get for a few weeks. So all good.
The job is important, Brian. The job is important. All right. Okay. Take care, Brian. We catch up later. All right.
Nice to meet you.
Okay.
Nice to meet you all, guys.
Okay.
See you later on, you kids.
Before you go, I might actually be in London for the NFL. I'm not gonna say yet, but I might.
Oh my God! So we live. I'm in Canada. You're in America. We're arranged to meet in London. Yeah.
I'm not gonna say yet.
Daniel, you can climb on Brian's shoulders with a bull.
Yeah, kid, we'll speak. I'll reach out to you on Twitter shortly anyway. But guys, find me on Tottenham Away. Right. Have a great stream. Like this channel because they're incredible and they're building it up. I will speak to you soon. Have a great day. Daniel Levy out.
You too, Brian.
Bye. Take care.
Thank you.
He's a character.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, yeah.
Yeah, Brian. Yeah. So
I'm
come-
surprised he wasn't the one that got Boy Hotspur to leave.
oh no. He was very well behaved on that stream.
Once.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, but I don't want to go there again. Don't forget, I was right in the middle of it. Right, I was on that stream. I'm not sure whether Rajiv saw that stream. About we did with the Three Wise Men on another channel. Will THFC Rants. Three Wise Men. Maybe I'll send you the link later, or maybe
Okay,
Jamie
okay.
put the link. Put the link into the Three Wise Men that we did the Boy Hotspur show. Put it into the link so maybe Rajiv can retrieve it, because I did put it into the India Spurs Twitter DM, right? Maybe you can pick that up and understand what we were talking about. Yeah, right.
I was super
So-
confused when that happened.
Yeah, I know. You were when you woke up and say what happened. Yeah, right. But we're not going to talk about people like that. It's a waste of time waste of time and energy to talk about things like that, since it's already done. So let's say Wayne is still the best, and this is nonsense about 30 million for Davis. Who's going to buy Davis for 30 million? Come on.
Snap it up now, quick. It's like,
Oh.
So I just want
Gonna
to
make
ask
me spit
something.
out my coffee.
Yeah, go ahead, Rajiv.
Is this the record for longest term without a manager?
Oh.
yeah,
Very
60
likely. We'd have
Is
to
it?
check.
No, we don't forget the friendly matches, right? That we have with Arsenal and Chelsea for the Mind charity thing.
Okay.
Actually, Ryan Mason and Ledley King has been appointed temporarily to look after
Temporary.
that match, those two matches. So if that has happened, right? I don't think we'll be getting a manager too soon. So just be braced for it. We might be really end up with Ryan Mason. That's all. Don't get shocked if we do.
No. This shocking expression is gone. For like past 4 years, it has disappeared. I don't get shocked now. I don't.
Oh, don't
I guess
get shocked.
that happened. Okay, it's fine. We are Tottenham Hotspur after all. It happens.
I saw a very good tweet last night from a guy called Kevin De Vries. I don't know who he is. He's got breaking news. He says negotiations between Tottenham Hotspur and managerial candidate Nuno Espirito Santo have been called off due to me largely coming round to the idea. Absolutely brilliant. I had to retweet it. Absolutely brilliant. And it's like,
But you know, that's why I say, Brad. Somehow or another, whatever is being pushed out there, right, by social media or actually the media himself or Levy himself, right? I think we have to just come to the acknowledgement to accept, right? Unless we see that person is in the stadium and holding up the shirt with his name
Holding up
behind
the shirt
it,
with the photograph.
with the photograph, right? Then we'll say, okay,
exactly.
that is the manager, right?
Yes, exactly,
Okay,
exactly.
And that is the player we're gonna get, right?
Yes,
Before
exactly.
that, it's just
sorry, guys.
yeah.
It's not going to be Santo now because on my YouTube sort of thing, it come up with his tactics, and I thought, must watch it. Oh, let's watch it. So as soon as you watch anything about the new manager, you won't be the new manager because I watched all the ones.
Oh, remember Fonseca? Fonseca was coming in and. Yeah, everybody was saying no. Then we will give him a chance. Then everybody went and studied his movements. Actually, it's not bad, you know. He's quite good. You know? He's an attacking thing, you know. Then next thing you know,
a big video about his achievements and stuff.
Just one where it was in the Ukraine, wasn't it? Yeah, it was really good. Oh yeah.
And you must remember when Fonseca was in the Ukraine at the time, it was in the midst of the Crimean conflict.
Yeah,
he was actually managing a club, right? In the midst of the war.
Yeah. They were flying back and forth to the games and that,
Yeah. So
but I got around to that and I thought, actually I'm actually looking forward to the season now. It could be interesting, this, you know.
The next thing you find out, we are not taking him because of what? Oh, the money again. So that means everything now comes down to the money, because I think in the cryptic message that he sent out in the video is that we don't have money to buy anybody or appoint any managers. Yeah, that's why when everybody say they want Potter is not coming because Potter's got 4 years on his contract still.
Yeah.
How much will Brighton ask for? Right? Brighton will have to say that, okay, pay me 10, 15, I'll let him go. Right? If he could have paid 10, 15 to get Potter, right? Why didn't pay the 10, 15 to Conte?
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
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 Yeah,
God, it was free,
Exactly.
wasn't it? It was available.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was available. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
no,
that's why in the end I think it's all smoke and mirrors. And like like yesterday when I was on Bob Spurs stream just about 12 hours ago, because Bob Spurs have always been saying, just be prepared, right? That our next permanent manager is going to be Ryan Mason. That's all. Just be prepared for it.
I
Don't be
I have
shocked.
a strong feeling about that. I have a
You have a strong
feeling
feeling
about
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the way it's going is right. What
Yes,
Levy
yes.
wants is something like, and the worst thing is that I did put out Twitter, those voting thing. I said, whether will Paratici be around at the beginning of the season?
Well, this is
Because-
it, isn't it? This is
Yeah.
the thing, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
you know, they're all, from what if you read what you in social media, if you believe it, they're already at odds as to what the new manager should be. Levy wants one thing, he wants another, and it's like, hang on a minute.
Just like the
hasn't even-
Fonseca thing. Yeah.
Yeah, he hasn't even started his job yet, and yet there's already conflict.
That's true.
Again, it's Levy just wanted to keep his finger in the pie, you know. Oh,
But
can't
the thing is,
do it.
then why do you bring in Paratici then? Correct?
Well, this is
unless
it.
you want to use him as a shield, someone to
Exactly.
blame, take go.
Well,
But sooner or
yeah.
later, Paratici
Puppet
is going to
to
wake
blame.
up, right? Paratici is going to wake up and see that, I'm not going to be the scapegoat of all this nonsense. I must well not go.
Yeah.
But the problem is that there's news that he's actually signed the contract. You see?
Yeah.
But he's just waiting to appear. Right. Yusuf, few late again, but still caught it. Yeah. But he was in about 2 days earlier.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Put the message in. Yeah. Thanks, Yusuf. Yeah.
Pick up Yusuf.
So, yeah. Right. And there's a message from Wayne Bonner. Eugene, have you thought about doing a show on Will's channel just as Cody and Mr. K do as well on your own channel? Let's see how it goes. Because of the timing. Let you see. Because like today I didn't do the Rand's channel on the Will's channel because I was on Bob Spurs channel the about few hours before. So and it was
But
my time.
Speak of the guy, Mr. K is on.
Yeah. Mr. K is here. Hi guys. Oh, Mr. K is here. Right. Okay.
Saw him on
uh,
Paxton Road
right.
earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Paxton's
Okay.
over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Rajiv, Mr. K looks like Nuno's spiritual sound.
Hop on, Mr. K. You got the link, right? If you can.
Can you give me
yeah.
just a couple of seconds? I need to pop out to the to the bathroom, basically.
Sure, no
You're gonna
problem.
take it.
No problem, Brad. Go ahead.
He's got to take an air tire.
You don't
Yeah.
take the camera with you though. It's okay.
At least he tells you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There was one instance where Will was, like doing something in the cup. No
Literally?
link. Okay, I'll send him the link. All right.
No,
Mr. K,
are you talking metaphorically or are you talking literally?
Literally. But he said no, the cup is too small.
Okay, right. Okay, Daniel, you probably worked it out, but no, I don't. No.
Okay. I've dropped you the link, Mr. K, to your WhatsApp. Yeah.
Okay, hello, sir. I want to ask something. What
Sure, go ahead.
what do all of you all think? Who should be our next manager? I mean, I'm not talking about the big ones, Jurgen Klopp, Deschamps. As per Levy's standard, who you think would be a good fit for the club? Not
You mean
the big names.
Apart from Ryan Mason.
Yes. Somewhat of the same standard.
We burn our bridges. So
Yeah.
The thing is, yeah, go on.
So realistically, I would actually say, if we don't screw it up again, we just stick with Nuno. I mean, there was mention that they're just getting him in so they can, as a stopgap. So,
But
I'd say
JD,
he's a better stopgap than Ryan Mason.
Exactly.
but haven't you heard the news out there, right? Nuno is Paratici's choice, but not Levy's choice again. So
No,
there is another clash there.
I sent a link. I sent a link in the private chat saying that Levy's cooling to the idea of Nuno. Nuno?
Neil.
No. I think Marcelo or Will said that on one of the recent was it the Tottenham away said Nunu, and everyone picked on it, and Will calls him Nuno, but he's actually
Nuno.
Nuno Espirito Santo.
Nuno. Yeah.
And I think Nunu is like a little soft rag or something, but
Yeah.
I think that's basically what Levy wants. A little soft rag that he can go, wah, wah, where's the money? Where's the money? Wah.
Okay, guys, I've got another guest coming in, right? And let's welcome him.
Yes, Mr. K.
Hi guys.
No, not Mr. K. He is the stunt double of Nuno Espirito Santo.
Separated at birth.
Just introduce you to Rajiv from Goa Spurs.
All right, Rajiv. How you doing, mate?
And I'm Brad. I'm not sure if you met Brad before. Maybe Brad's seen you around before.
I've met Brad. I've seen Brad before.
Yeah, we've seen Brad before. Yeah.
I've seen you, Mr.
Brad
Cal.
Matthews, isn't it?
Yeah.
Brad Matthews.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, nice to meet you, Mr.
Yeah,
Cal.
definitely spoken to him in the chat. Definitely 100% spoken to him in the chat many a time. But, you know, I think that's one thing wonderful about the Spurs family we've got right now is that everyone is now comfortable with communicating backwards and forwards into the streams.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go back something like 6 weeks to a year ago, that's when more or less it started.
Yeah.
When basically, I think Matt Hayes kicked off, and then, you know, Irish Hotspur, and then there was a whole flurry of other types of fan-based content coming out. And it really gave a lot of fans like myself, like yourself, like Matt over here, the Yid Kid, it really gave us an opportunity to get on and actually feel comfortable giving our opinion. Because let's face it, we've spent a lot of years being a little bit shy. You know, we generally have. I think the majority of Spurs fans, we're not highly aggressive people. We're not like Man United fans or Chelsea fans.
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
true.
Yeah.
We like to bring our families to the football matches, and
Yes,
we like to have that sort of wholesome experience.
That's true.
And I think because of that, we've got to the situation where when there is trouble, when there are things upset, we don't necessarily have the current DNA to kind of do something about it. It's going to take a little while for us to kind of gather more and more people together to say something is wrong. We all know it is. Identifying what's wrong, and then saying, well, come on, let's come together and all agree that it's wrong. And if we do, then at least we can go forward with suggestions as to how to fix it. You know, from one extreme to the other, I suppose.
I
But
think
if we
it's one of
don't get... Go on.
Like I say, it's one of the positive things out of the whole COVID situation was that lockdown sort of forced you into this position where, you know, you had to sit in your house or your flat or whatever. And that's where I started watching We Are Tottenham TV with the after show bits. So I watched the game on Sky and then, or whatever it was, and then watch it after. And it's almost like therapy. And then you're right. And from there you see, you know, oh, that Irish guy's on again. You know, he's really good. And that's where I saw people like him and Matt Hayes. And I'm sure I've seen you on there, you kid. And yeah, and you see these people and you think, wow, it's this sort of, you know, everyone sort of has the same feelings as I've got on what I've just witnessed. And yeah, it really, really helped. Definitely helped.
I do think one thing would be good though is because for fear of repetition of the discussion type, because
the echo chamber.
Yeah, the echo chamber. So yeah, but we need to. Hopefully, that's going to die down when we get more of our relative characters. We need to be united in our message, but we need to develop our characters or our angles so we can actually differentiate one stream from the other. So people have choice. They don't just go, hey, I'll just shake the pieces of paper, pick out one. Okay, that's the stream I'm going to watch.
I think one of the mistakes, Jamie, I think maybe you've identified it as well some time back, is that some of the fans, because of their passion and their understanding of what's been going on behind the scenes with the board and how they've been manipulating the fan base, they've got to a very extreme end, and people are starting to call other fans not fans. And I think that's a mistake, because I think that fans should all have the right to be as much of a fan that they care to be. And at the end of the day, they've chosen to point themselves and align themselves towards Spurs. And maybe it's a journey for them, and maybe they're at the beginning of that journey. So maybe they may appear to be like this right now, but they will eventually, if they carry on, they'll become, like us. So I think
But we-
pushing fans away and pushing away their opinions means that we're getting stuck in an echo chamber where everyone's starting to demand the same thing, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean,
So the
we have
main-
we have our Mr. K's, we have our Eugenes, we have our Rajivs, we have our boy Hotspurs. We all have, behind the Spurs common theme, we can be very different people, but we need to put Spurs at the front of everything, and make sure that whatever our minutiae, whatever our little differences, the ultimate message that gets forward is Spurs forward, not Levy richer.
All football first.
Yeah,
I think that
football-
difference. I think the difference that fan bases had.
Excuse me, sir.
Go on.
Excuse me, sir.
Go ahead, Rajesh.
So I have to leave now because my phone is. I am extremely sorry for the interruption.
You don't have to apologize. Just
no
give our love
problem.
to your
Yeah.
family, and thank you for being on.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you,
Rajesh,
sir,
thanks for coming on.
taking me up.
No
you.
problem. We
Take
keep in
care.
touch, and you are welcome
Yes.
to come on anytime. All right.
Okay,
And I
sir.
do have a show every Sunday at this time, but this is just the
Okay.
beginning. Later, we will
Okay.
develop more content. Okay, Rajesh?
Okay.
Take care.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right.
Take care, Rajesh.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Come on, you
Bye-bye.
Get your fellow Spurs fans to smash and like and subscribe.
Subscribe,
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs, definitely.
To dare is to do.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Yes,
dude.
And we need to be more
Yeah.
I
daring.
love that. I love that. I love that.
if only.
Bye.
I think other channels have more or less given up on that motto.
Yeah.
I mean, I did a whole show.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
to do or not to do. That's the
Uh,
question. But my point was this: is that every time I need some sanity, I always think about Jamie, because I think what happens is that no, seriously, guys, you've seen it in the Will Rant show, how passionate fans can become. But as Matt was saying, we need therapy sometimes. First, we need to cross that barrier where we can let it out, and once we've let it out and the right company, we feel different afterwards. We feel like we're now part of that movement that says, you know what, ENIC out is a real thing. But it's not just so much ENIC out. We don't care about ENIC. We don't care about Levy. What we care about is Spurs. What we care about is the club and the other fans. We just want a little bit of pride back. You just want to feel a little bit of pride. Like we did during Poch's years, like 16, 17. We felt a sense of pride back in our club. And that got
True.
so rudely
I think
taken
we do
away.
We have pride in the club. We just have shame in the chairmanship.
I mean, the fans do, but the players don't. The players don't play for the badge. Let's be honest. They play for the paycheck.
I think that's another hypothesis which needs to be questioned, because we're making assumptions based upon limited things that we can see, even though we have never been professional footballers, and we don't know what's going behind the scenes. We really don't know. We get a little snippet from the Amazon show, but that was so choreographed. You can't take anything from there seriously. It doesn't matter who said what, because the whole thing is like being set up. So I think sometimes, to a certain degree, when you start doing episodes on things like mental health, you really got to start considering these players and saying to yourself, well, what are they? Well, they were children that got put into football and they didn't know anything else. And now they're grown into men in that bubble. They haven't had a normal life like you and I. They don't know what you and I feel on a normal basis. They have no contemplation whatsoever. And I think it's a bit unfair. But at the same time, if the players don't communicate enough with the fans, like coming forward and saying, we played really terrible, we're really sorry, we're going to try harder next time, and the next time you see them trying harder, then fair enough. But we haven't seen that either. So it is kind of like right to point a finger at the players. But at the same time, if a player does not have the skill level to raise himself any higher or try any more than he's currently doing, you can't really call him out. You have to call out the manager for playing him, and the director of football or whoever the hierarchy is for employing him, signing his contract. You don't just bring a £40 million player, £50 million player, or even a £15 million player into the club without psychologically evaluating them to see whether or
Aaron
not they
Lennon.
would match. Well, there was always an exception to the rule.
Yeah, but I've seen a few players coming out and apologizing to the fans, especially Hugo Lloris. After the Zagreb game, he came out and he apologized to the fans. So there's some players in there that actually care about the fans, but there's others that don't.
But the thing, kid, that's not enough. But somehow, for another, right, after the Champions League final in the 1-8 season and all that, the rod was already there. That's why Poch was already saying he needs the rebuild. But somehow another Levy didn't listen. And maybe Levy got attached to the players. Maybe he thought they were his children, right? And he couldn't let them go, correct? So it comes back to the problem is that what is happening to Levy that is turning the players into that way, and us fans are seeing it now, and there's a lot of fans who still cannot see through all that smoke and mirrors, you see? So, but now with the manager fiasco that we're having, a lot of these fans are actually turning around and said, okay, this is not adding up. 60, how many days now? 67 days?
70, I think.
70 days without a manager? Maybe today is 28 or 29. Yeah, maybe 69 days without a manager. And there is still no real target that we can actually put our hands on, right? Every manager that's come up has either rejected us per se, or
been rejected,
or we are rejecting them. So
exactly.
So it's just all this merry-go-round and smoke and mirrors. For all you know, like a lot of them are saying now is that maybe he's waiting for the Euros to end. Like tonight's match, there's Yusuf was saying what?
Belgium versus Portugal.
Belgium versus Portugal, right?
How we do against Germany will decide what he does about the manager.
Okay, and then when Tuesday comes, what about Germany and England? Correct, but England FA has already said, even if Southgate loses to Germany, they still want to extend his contract. That's
for 2 more years.
Right. But the thing is, what about Martinez? That's the thing now.
That's what tonight's game is interesting, isn't it? Like, I think Belgium probably are slight favourites, but hey, Portugal could very well easily win, and then Belgium are out. Martinez, I'm not sure what his contract is with the Belgium FA, but from what I've read, he's interested in the Tottenham job. So you do wonder, what happens after tonight's game if Belgium are out? Suddenly, is he the next flavour of the month for Daniel Levy, sort of thing?
It could be.
The thing is,
another edition.
I mean, we're going to start Monday, right? Yeah, and Monday, things will become clear. Okay.
And yesterday on Bob Spurs' channel, Matty did come out and say by Wednesday we should know whether Nuno is coming in or not. Right?
It's always Wednesday. It's on Friday you signed up. It's always Friday you signed up.
Stuck in the plane.
Wednesday's a hump day. It's the worst part of the week. So
anyone remember the Cure song? The Cure song, Friday I'm in Love.
I've been in love since I met my wife.
You could the song. You could actually say Monday this happens, Tuesday this happens. You could actually put new words in that song. Wednesday deals falling through.
Okay.
Sort of,
Okay, Mr. K, that's your next project. Turn the Cure into a meme.
Well, surprising enough, I've actually got a show coming up this Tuesday, which is all about moments which occur in the life of a football fan, which then get turned into songs or chants or even memes. And I want to bring on a few guests which have created those type of content.
What about
that have inspired?
A little geeky guy that was at some kind of low-level club match, and he was like, "Come on, let's be having you. I'll take you on. Come on." the little specky guy that I don't know. See, that's the thing. I was until 6 years ago. I was legacy. I was, I could walk home from the Spurs ground or just hop on one bus and whatnot. And I've got all these aspects of being a local fan and now being an international fan mixing about. So my references are starting to get a bit diluted. So,
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think
Yusuf I has a question. Right?
Go on.
Question
Yeah.
is, if Harry leaves, will Son leave as well?
He won't. He's already said that his dream is with Tottenham and his future is with Tottenham. He's already said that in press conference.
I think it's the opposite. I think basically Harry will end up staying and Son will be the one leaving. Levy needs the money. Simple as that. He needs money. He hasn't got it.
But Son,
I think
but you
Harry
can't let
Kane-
Son leave, right, Mr. K?
Well,
If Son leaves,
let me
right,
ask-
he will lose the Korean market.
Okay. If you
No.
just step back for 1 second, right, and ask yourself, what stopped us from buying certain players, especially like, for example, next man's what, £15 million? You can go and buy him right now. He's available. His agent's now pushing him to Arsenal. Sabitzer injured, is now pushing him to Arsenal. The Arsenal fans are talking about Sabitzer as if they're going to sign him next week.
Yeah, we were talking
So,
about Conte like we're going to sign him tomorrow.
No, but my point is this: that okay, fair enough. The Arsenal fans are basically, from my research with their groups, they talk just like we do. They speculate just like we do. They talk about players just like we do, and some of them even talk about their board and the owners exactly like we talk about our owners and board. And it's so frightening to see that because they're further down the road than we are, and we're already catching them up. I mean, that's great. They changed their stadium time ago. They got told a whole pack of lies for a very long time. So I think to a certain degree, we've just come out of building the stadium. We've just come out of having, the stadium open. And the fans are already starting to wake up to the fact that this is all about the money and it ain't going into the pitch. It's going into someone's pocket. And I think once people start to realize that fact that these so-called characters that love our club have absolutely no interest in the football whatsoever, and that means by extension, they don't care about the fans in that regard. They only care about making worldwide facilities that are going to generate huge amounts of profit that will go ka-ching in their pocket. For 4 years, we're in the Champions League for 4 years. And for only 2 of those years, we actually bought someone. So where did all that money go? The net spend on all of those years was about no more than a 10 or 12, 15 million pounds. Right? So where did all the money go? This is crazy. You're making £150 million a year for 4 years. That's minimum £600 million without adding anything on top. Where did that money go? Levy can turn around to some of the fans, right, and say, "Oh, we've spent £250 million." No, that is if you take that into consideration of how many players you've sold, you've only made a net spend of no more than 15 or 20 million for that year. So that 250 figure doesn't mean anything. Right now, the problem we've got is that Levy can't pull that stunt anymore because the players he bought for, say, £30 million, he can only sell them for no more than £10 million. So he's making
But he doesn't want to sell
all
them.
these players. So what does he do instead? He keeps them, gives them a new contract, gets a different manager, and hopes for the best that the fans won't notice. His number one plan is just purely to keep hitting European slots, making money worldwide from a global brand recognition. In order for him to spend more money, in order for him to win a trophy, he's too scared. He can't speculate. He's never gambled like that. And therefore his track record proves he's never going to. The Leopard ain't going to change his spots. The new manager, the new general manager, the director of football, Paratici, he hasn't even stepped into his office. He's already taking salvos for Levy. The fan base is already blaming him and slagging him off for things he hasn't even sat in the office to do. But supposedly it's his responsibility and he's the one acting on it. Well, if he was acting on getting a manager through the door, then we would have already got it. Because all big clubs like Real Madrid, they got a manager within 48 hours. If you look at Juve, the club that he was leaving, look how quick these managers are being chosen and then saying, right, okay, you're the man, here's the money, in you come. So the fact that we're not doing that final process means that the first 2 steps of identifying and then bringing a manager in to interview, it is all smoke and mirrors. It's not real. It's just a stunt just to keep the fans off Levy's back. Keep them talking about something every single week. Now, okay, let me ask you a serious question, all of you guys. This thing about Friday choosing a manager is about to sign, and then come Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, he's not. This has happened once too many times in the last 60 days. It's no longer a joke anymore. For someone to ask me a question, do you think that Nuno is a good manager to come into Spurs is totally irrelevant. And for someone to even ask that question means they're playing the game that they don't even know they're playing. And this is what's sad. I mean, I just went on to Paxton Road TV and we were talking about Nuno Espirito Santo, right?
Mhm.
And,
Yeah.
the idea is that we're evaluating whether or not this manager is going to be good to come into our club or not for his tactical reasons, personal reasons, financial spending reasons, how he gets on with the board, and so forth. And I'm thinking to myself, while we're wasting our brain space and time talking about these issues and discussing them, we're rationalizing at this level. Instead, this is stopping us from building up our rage and pointing it towards the people that are causing it. I mean, this is no longer a joke
probably the
anymore.
plan.
But don't you see that's like another Fonseca scenario again, right? When Fonseca was announced, everybody said no. Then after that, okay, we'll accept him. Then after that, everybody went and studied what he did, right? Then 2 days later, it's over.
This is the thing with the manager situation. If we're gonna end up with an average manager, we waited 70 days to get an average manager. This is my problem, because if we would have waited 70 days and ended with somebody like Conte, I don't think we'd be as mad as we are right now. On the other hand, if we would have
They're
waited
not mad enough.
less than 10 days and we would have ended up with Nuno or a Potter, I don't think we'd be mad either. It's just the amount of time we've waited and to end up with an average manager. That's just what gets us so mad.
Brad, what do you think? Have you seen this scenario happen before in the 70s, 80s, and 90s?
I think when I was a young lad, because Bill Nicholson was my first manager. The only thing I do remember is when Keith Birkinshaw was appointed, everyone said, Keith who? But he was from the backroom staff, if I'm correct. And obviously he went on to be the second most successful Spurs manager. I don't think that the board and the chairmans and the owners were thought about in those days. I think it's sort of been, it's like a new thing. You wouldn't even know who the chairman was or whatever. And I think it's now, and it's all, again, it's a learning process that now we're learning what influence these people have on who runs our football club. And I think that's what's happening now. Everyone's thinking, oh, actually, the reason we haven't got this player or that player is because the guy at the top won't spend the money. It's not down to the manager, And I think that to me, it's a new scenario. It's sort of happened now. The one thing I will say is that on what Mr. K was saying about football fans being logical, I don't, and I include myself in this. Football fans are never logical. We're not. It's like. I mustn't watch it. I mustn't look for anything on Nuno. I mustn't look for anything. And something comes on. Oh, look, let's have a look at that sort of thing. And that's why we did the Fonseca. That's why we did the Conte. I gave you a really, really good example of this from a non-football fan. I used to work with a lady called Marilyn, who hates football, doesn't have a thing about football. She knows what's going on. It's her husband, maybe, but doesn't. And I think Arsenal were in the Champions League, and she said, "Oh," and she knew that I hated Arsenal, but she said, "Oh, I suppose you'll be supporting Arsenal in the Champions League because they're an English team." And I said, "No, of course I won't. It doesn't work like that." And to her, supporting Arsenal in the Champions League because they were an English team was totally logical. And what I said, no way in the world, that to her was illogical sort of thing. So I think football fans, it's very difficult not to, I'm sure if Graham Potter is the next one in the frame, I'm sure I'll be looking at his tactics. And it's just a football thing. I don't think where we can have good opinions and that on what's happening, and I think sometimes the logic sort of tends to go out the window, and it's difficult because I watched the whole 3-hour show where they had got the expert in on Fonseca, and you think, well, that's 3 hours of my life I'll never get back, sort of thing.
That would have been his nickname as soon as he got hired, Fonseca.
Yeah.
How long will it be before he's Fonseca?
But it's now got to the stage where, the first time it happened when, he's going to be the new manager, and then he wasn't. Then the second time with Poch and with Conte. Now it's got to the stage where you're just expecting it now, and you think, well,
just a statement from Wayne Bonner, right? Let's say Wayne is saying we're an average team, but Levy refused to see that. Maybe because Levy is such a fan, he thinks that he can make the team, our team, so much better, but he hasn't, right? An average manager, okay?
Is that because he's a fan or because of his ego?
Plus that, maybe all add together, being a fan with his ego, he thinks he himself can bring Spurs to the pinnacle, but he doesn't have the skills to bring it, and he's actually making it worse. You see,
Well, we weren't an average team in 2017. You know,
Oh, yeah.
and yet
No,
he didn't.
and that maybe that ego came in is that it wasn't him bringing the glory. It was Poch.
Yeah,
Don't you
but
see it, Brad? Yeah. So maybe he's envious of Poch because everybody was praising Poch during that time. Nobody was saying, "Oh, Levy, you were the one who brought this Poch," and it wasn't Levy first. Everybody was Poch first, and everybody behind was saying, "Why are we having a new stadium?" Right? And remember the last season at White Hart Lane, we didn't lose a home game.
Brilliant, wonderful.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
Amazing.
And after that, it was calmed down. And after that, you know what I was saying? Shit, I think it's very bad feng shui. I mean, I'm Chinese, you see.
I mean, Poch, you
understand what I'm saying, right, Brad? Feng shui. In China, in our culture, right, the yin and the yang has to match. Everything has to be in what called? Everything has to have its way of being good in the good circle. Maybe that's why Leicester is doing so well, because how they run the club is they follow certain cultural way that, of course, the thing is that, number one, who is your paymaster? As I do business, who is our paymaster? Our paymaster is our customers, right? In the football club, who is your paymaster? The fans.
Yeah.
Right. And now he's pissing off the fans, and he's getting back all this bad karma. And of course, all the news.
But when you say he's pissing off the fans, I mean, like, if the numbers are even speculatively true as to how many fans Tottenham really has.
Yeah, true.
How many of them are really peed off? How many of them actually voicing their opinion? It's a fraction. It's a drop in the ocean. The vast majority of fans, I mean, I've come across fans that have turned around and said, look, we're giving Levy a hard time. He loves the club. And we're just blinded by our disappointments and expectations. And we're venting it and taking it out on the wrong person. And I turn around to them and I think to myself, what do they see? What do they know that I don't get? Because it's an alien concept to me. It's like, I used to give Levy a benefit of the doubt all the time. He never used to appear in my mind. I used to concentrate on the players, the transfers, the manager. Levy was hardly ever on my mind. It wasn't until we spent a season and a half without buying a player that I started to question, wait a second, there's no manager on the planet that would not want to buy a player for transfer time to improve his squad for the next season. So for the chatter to say, oh, Poch was the one deciding this, I knew there was something fishy in it straight away. So that's when I started to think, that's when I started to investigate, that's when I started to keep half an eye open as to what the board was doing in comparison to what the management was doing in terms of the players. And then Poch started sitting down in conferences and saying, I'm just a coach, stop asking me questions about players, things like that. And I thought to myself, there's something terrible going on here.
That's what it all
started. And when Poch finally turned around. Yeah. And then finally Poch got to the end of his tether and said, right, we've got a beautiful new house, we need new furniture, it's going to be very painful. What's painful? It means we have to let go of these people that got us here. These players. Now, these players, once they get that feeling and inkling that they're no longer required and they're superfluous to use, well, naturally, half a step is going to be missing out of their pace. And that's pretty much what we saw. They weren't dynamic anymore. They weren't pressing anymore. They weren't winning back the ball as often as they used to. And they weren't coming back into the game. And they were losing in the last 10 minutes, which was completely the opposite of the DNA that Poch had put into them. So that rubber band had snapped back. And I asked myself a question. How did those players allow themselves to perform in that level and get away with it? Because Poch is not the type of manager to let them get away with it. And that's when all roads lead to Levy. That's my simple, basic understanding of the whole situation. All the roads lead back to Levy, and with his interference, and slowly you start to catch on his interference. But it took me quite a number of years to get to this stage. And it's going to take other fans the same amount of time.
I became Levy out when we didn't sign Dybala. But then I think we all have to agree that after last season's first transfer window, that he brought in Doherty, he brought in Bale, he brought in a lot of players. I was kind of, on the fence with Levy. But now, after the Super League, everything got clarified for me.
I think that's spot on. That's spot on. Because
guys must remember. No, go ahead, Brad. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I thought when we're being told that we haven't got any money, and I thought that transfer window was actually all right. You know, the players we got in were what Mourinho wanted. You know, the Mourinho style players. The Bale deal with my memory's going. With the other left back.
Reguilon.
Reguilon, that's the guy. And then the only thing that we didn't get was Skriniar, which was very, very good. At the time we thought, we've got all these other players, and it probably ironically turned out Skriniar was the one that we probably needed more than the others. And it was like everyone was sort of like, you know, well done. But I think you're right. The Super League suddenly showed them up to be, and not only Tottenham, all the other clubs suddenly showed them up to be what they are. You know,
Matt, I think you know that thing with Skriniar, right? Yeah,
Brad. Sorry,
as Spurs fans. Sorry, Brad. I'll do back one. As Spurs fans, we have already become accustomed to those particular types of shenanigans for 3, 4, 5 years, where we kept saying all we need is 1 or 2 more players.
Oh, yeah.
And the right players, and then Levy would always come along and buy different players. And the same thing happened at the beginning of the last transfer window, at the beginning of the season. And that was, we got excited by the players coming in, but we all kept scratching our heads saying, hold on a second, this isn't what we really need. We need to shore up the defense. You know, this is Jose Mourinho. He prides himself on strong defensive, strong characters. And we don't have that there.
Do you think maybe we might have put our faith in Mourinho to sort out the defense a bit too much?
I think he's the perfect fall guy.
Yeah, he was the fall guy. Because you know why? When Mourinho came in, he thought he had a good squad. But when he sat down and he saw what happened at the beginning of the first third of the season, we were more or less very, very good. All of Mourinho's tactics was working. But everything started to crumble in the second third of the season because it was getting near to the January transfer market. And Mourinho was the first one to come out to say, right, we don't have the money to buy players. We're not buying any players. And I think that was the time he actually just lost heart. He just, okay, if Levy is doing all this, why should I care?
I think he basically said that as a manager, and just like Poch had said certain things to the camera, as a manager on behalf of the club. And one of the things which I got from Jose recently, from the last statements he made, he was basically saying, listen, they lied to me. They told me that they was going to do something, and then they didn't do it. I backed it, and that was the mistake that I made. I should never have lowered my status as a manager. I should never have compromised myself by doing the things that I did. And one of the things that he did was he protected Levy.
Yeah.
By saying, I've got a wonderful squad. I don't need more players. What do you mean you don't need more players? You've got a big hole in your defense, and you're telling me you don't need players. And you're forced to play winks, and you're telling me you don't have enough players. You have enough players. No, there's something didn't add up. And I think the fan base turned their finger towards Jose and said, okay, everything's your fault. Levy gets 5%, and you get 95%. Or 90%, and the players get some percent as well. And the thing was that it built up, and he's the perfect fall guy, just like Paratici is right now.
Well, this
wait till the new manager gets signed. We're going to be we're going to be putting him down come September, guaranteed.
You wonder what Levy said to Paratici, don't you, when he was trying to get him? You do wonder.
Okay. Let me read Wayne Bonner's comment here. As far as Levy and loving the club are concerned, you don't kill what you love. But sometimes if you take certain relationships between an abusive relationship, it turns into that scenario. You see? So what I think is that Levy has actually seen that the Spurs fan base really, really loves the club. And he has taken advantage of that situation, right? And he thinks that he can do whatever he wants. So, but now a lot of us are waking up to this, whatever he's doing, okay? And we are actually pressing back. And now he feels that we are pressing back, right? He is making more and more mistakes down the road, you see? So the only thing is now, when will it break?
I think the first home game of the season will be the
critical one.
Yeah, because the protests, I'm fine with that, having any protests outside the game, but I don't think that'll make a huge difference because a protest by its very, you're not going to get 60,000 people protesting. So you look at a certain amount of people and think, that's a small amount of people. If you get that crowd for that first game and that 60,000 crowd start singing ENIC songs or whatever it might be, or booing when he sits in the seat, or whatever, that I think will be the point. We'll know how, because as far as I'm concerned, his position now is untenable. It's untenable. ENIC has not won a trophy. Won one trophy in 20 years, and the manager merry-go-round that we're witnessing at the moment, which is a complete joke. It's not a joke anymore. It's a disgrace. His job is literally, in my opinion, is untenable now. But I think he's going to be there on the first game of the season, and I think that will once you have a load of 60,000 people.
I give you a conspiracy theory, right? Kane has been linked to M City. Okay.
Sorry, what was that? Sorry?
A conspiracy theory. Conspiracy theory.
Yep.
Okay. Sorry, Kane has been linked to M City. Correct. Our transfer window closes at the end of August. Okay, so most probably how it's going to go is, right, Kane will still be playing for us in the first game, and most probably Kane is going to score a hat-trick and win the game, right? 2 weeks down the road, right, Kane is gone. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
That was part of the deal. Don't forget that part.
Well, that's a...
Yeah. Then the fans will be saying, oh, we beat M City, right, and be so happy. And 2 weeks later, bye-bye, Kane. He's gone to M City. Okay, just to answer Yusuf I's question, Jamie is my partner in crime, so he'll be always on Spurs Nation TV. And Brad, he's asking, do you have a channel?
No, I don't. I'm at Brad Hosford, my Twitter handle. I will be, and this has been going on for the last year, I will be having or trying to get on YouTube a music channel. Because when I turned 60, I decided to pick up the guitar again. I used to write songs. I played until I was about 15, 16. So I class myself as a beginner still. So I started
to come on my show on Tuesday, mate. Bring your guitar.
I'm really not that good at the moment. And the idea was that when I turned 60 was, which was to write songs about my life and things that are going on. A little bit of politics in there, but mainly on stuff that's happening. There's a song about COVID. So I've got these songs, and the idea was to put them on YouTube, have a song, what is one of my songs, blah, blah, blah. And then I had some sort of digital record. I mean, look, I'm healthy as far as I know, and I'm hoping to live a long and full life, but have a digital record of myself, my songs on YouTube. And, no, I'm not expecting to play Glastonbury anytime soon, but yeah, at the moment, I've got songs that are ready to go, but it's not brilliant at the moment. So as soon as that channel's up, I will advertise it. And
you gotta make some songs about it.
You should change your angle. You should be starting writing songs against Levy.
Exactly.
Then I tell you, all the Spurs fans who are against him will jump on.
Bring your guitar to the
I was going to write a song based, which on face value would be about a love affair and a broken relationship, and it's going to be basically about my love for Tottenham Hotspur sort of thing, based on that basis sort of thing, So
yeah, well, basically, Brad, you can become our Billy Bragg.
If I had that much
I'm part of the Tottenham Army, and I've been paying it for years.
You know what? I actually went to a Billy Bragg gig years ago, and because he's a West Ham supporter, and we actually met him. We actually met him after the show, and I actually said to him, "I'm a Spurs fan." He goes, "Oh, so you don't support football then?" So.
Well, until this season, you could say the same thing about West Ham, that they've had a good season.
Yeah.
Oh, don't talk about West Ham. Come on.
Okay, Eugene. Eugene, I'm just gonna pop downstairs and get some toast. I'll be back up in a couple of minutes. Okay.
Right. Oh, and I forgot to ask, Brad, have you taken your lunch or anything?
No, I'm quite hungry at the moment. So once this is finished.
I think if it's like that, right? I think we should. Mr. K, have you got anything else to say?
ENIC out.
ENIC out. All right.
Perfect.
I thought it was Tavistock in, Levy out. Just get a manager.
I think it's just a single unified flag that unites all of the different types of suggestions. It just basically, it's an extreme position to say ENIC out. What you really want is you want Levy to get his fingers off the football side. To me, it doesn't matter whether ENIC's in or out in terms of like who's there as the board. What I care about is their intention. And it seems to me that with this particular board, they have no intention, and there's nothing going to come along, including, like, for example, ESL, no apology, no sincere apologies, right? There's nothing going to come along that's really going to change that. So therefore, I believe that ENIC out is probably the best thing, personally. Other people might think is reform. Other people might think that Levy needs to do this, whatever. But at the end of the day, we just want pride in our club, man.
Well, you know what?
Come on, you Spurs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we just
TPID.
one more round. Just plug in your channel that you're having, Mr. K.
I host a Three Wise Men on Will Stewart's THFC Rants channel on YouTube, and I do my show on Tuesday nights, 11 o'clock GMT, because I'm based in London.
So that's 7 a.m. That's 7 a.m.
6 a.m.
6
6
a.m. Kuala Lumpur and Manila and Asia time, roughly.
Yeah.
And
What time is
Australia
that,
time,
Mr.?
and Australia time is about 9 a.m.
Yes.
Yep.
Pretty much.
It's mostly a lot of the people that turn up on my show are mostly either from Europe, because it's 11 o'clock, and the rest are from, like, Northern America. We've got people from Southern America. We've got people who are waking up very early in Australia the following day, so that they're actually able to turn up on the stream as well. So it's really what I'm trying to do with my first show, is just to connect the current fans, which I know about here in the UK, with some of the international fans. And that's why it's on late night time, because it'll cross over to that side of the Atlantic. Slowly but surely, the plan is to actually have another show, another stage in the week. But right now, I just want to cement my spot on Tuesday nights. It's the most quietest night there is in the week. No football that much.
Yeah,
So,
Wednesday's the one where.
because this Tuesday has the England-Germany game, so
Well, that's surprising. I mean, I didn't plan this, but for
Yeah.
some reason, there's been some really notable things happening on a Tuesday. Like, for example, managers are finally kicked into the dust, or there's some games that need to be played that are really important, especially England. So yeah, I'm kind of grateful that I chose a really silly night, and then all of a sudden it's turned out okay. But sometimes that's what you have to do: stick your flag in the sand and let people come to you.
Yeah.
Thank God it wouldn't be Thursday, because then it would be just a rant on the manager on Wednesday deciding not to come to Tottenham.
And you, Kit, what about you?
Creators Corner.
Or you guys can find me on Instagram, on YouTube, and on Twitter. I'm actually starting a Spotify account for my podcasts, the ones that I bring on you guys on Monday.
He's
So
thinking big.
yeah,
Good.
it's massive.
yeah,
we,
but
we, we got to make him the youngest billionaire, right?
I'll buy
And
the
then he
club.
can- Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the point. We're trying. It's not a case of leave it out. It's Daniel in, but just a different, just a different Daniel.
Can
Yeah.
I just also make a point that a lot of these YouTube shows go on for a long time. They are a long watch. But if you even watch it for 5 minutes and give it a like, that will help with the. And I can never say this, the algorithms, whatever they're called.
Algorithm.
Algorithm. You never say it.
Just hold,
Algorithm.
just hold
Yes.
on. I've got one more guest just popped in. Just give him a short while. This is Soham. He was with us in one of the shows earlier, and I
Okay.
think he just came back from work. Soham, this
Hi,
is Mr.
Soham.
K, Kit Daniel, and Mr. Brad Matthews. Right?
Good.
I'll give you just have a few words because we're just ending the stream soon. Just let you hop in and just have a few things to say. Go ahead.
You need
So,
to unmute. So unmute yourself. Your mic is muted.
Yeah, go ahead, Soham.
I
So,
think it's sound.
Your sound. Are you muted? Can you exit and enter again?
Yeah, it is still muted.
Eugene,
Yeah.
you have
No,
the power.
No, I've unmuted him. But can you say something, Soham?
It could be your settings.
Yeah,
Can
it
you
could
hear
be
me?
a phone
Yeah.
on your computer.
Quickly
your-
jump out and jump back in. That's the best.
Yeah.
thing. Type that in the. If someone
Jump
could
out,
type that
jump in.
Yeah.
There you go.
Sometimes your settings.
Yes.
Let's see
It
what it
doesn't
translate
change.
in.
Sometimes the headphone settings don't switch over from what they're originally
Yeah.
set to.
I've gotten really good with technology, with all this technology stuff going on.
You're going to be our guru in so many ways.
You're still young, yeah. For us, we're so difficult to
your brain is
understand
a
what's happening.
sponge. Our brain is a rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, if I shake
With
my
the
head, you can
online
hear it
school.
rattle.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Pinky and the Brain
No, I've never
on
watched the movie.
Animaniacs?
I've never watched the movie. I've watched a lot of
Tomorrow we're
movies.
going to take over the
Okay,
world.
let me see Soham can come back in again, huh? Hi,
Can you hear me
Soham.
now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yay!
Hi, Sohan. How are you, mate?
Better late than never.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine. Yeah, it just took way longer than I expected. I thought I'd be done within like half an hour, 45 minutes. Ends up taking 2 hours. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So what are we talking about?
Oh, actually, we are ending the stream soon, but
We're talking about our favorite subject,
yeah.
Spurs
No, because
and Levy.
we've been talking about the manager situation, Harry Kane, Levy, and of course Mr. Brad Matthews. He's here to tell us his
Hello.
history with the club.
Hello.
Right. So, have you anything to give anything to say on all these matters?
I mean, thing is, Spurs, the way we are operating right now, we don't really leave a lot to be said. I mean, regarding the manager stuff, at this point, it's like anyone will do at this point. So the thing with Nuno is, Nuno is a good coach. There's no doubt about it. My only fear with Nuno is that he's an agent of Mendes, and apparently Paratici enjoys working with Mendes as well. And I just do not want us to turn into Wolves 2.0. So basically, we'll just take up all these Mendes agents at an inflated price, like, Nelson Semedo for 35 million, please. We don't need any more of that. So I'm just afraid that we'll end up in a situation like that. But at this point, beggars can't choose. So if Nuno it is, then
Don't worry. Don't worry. Sohan, don't worry. He's going to be announced tomorrow, the day after that we're not going for Nuno. Watch. We've been there before.
I mean, look. At this point, I have mentally prepared myself for another full season with Ryan Mason, so nothing will disappoint me.
Oh, you're good. Very good.
Yeah,
conferences.
Yeah.
How
I think
could you,
mentally,
how
a
could
lot
you
of
sit
fans
through the
won't join.
excitement of those press conferences?
Oh my God.
Sorry. Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, he's like the ultimate PR trained robot, Ryan Mason. He's just a different level of like professional and like, what should I say, personality less in press conferences. I mean, I don't know. My God, it's like you go on Football Manager and you like pick the third option in every single press conference chat that you have there. Yeah, that guy is Ryan Mason. So, but anyway,
You have to check the back of his shirt for a wire. So
Yeah.
he's been disinformation. Just like Trump.
I don't think the problem with Ryan Mason's press conference is Ryan Mason. I think it's the questions that they ask him. Like,
No, I think it's all fake.
how good is Harry
It's
Kane?
scripted.
How good is Harry Kane? What do you mean? He's the best player you have on your team. Like,
No, but I think no. By the time they started asking him those questions, what happened is when he first became the manager or head coach or whatever, and he did his first press conference, they started asking him sticky questions, and then then they started telling them, look, you can't answer this question, you can't answer that question, and then for something happened, maybe he won a game or two, and he became like the darling of the journalists, and the journalists started giving him really easy questions. What do you think of Harry Kane? Do you think he's like a really good professional? What do you mean?
what's your favorite?
Okay, guys. Okay.
Like, getting along for what?
Just hold on. We still can go on, right? Brad, if you really need to have your lunch or anything, it's okay if you want to drop off first, because this might go on another hour.
I'll give it because we've also got the football on at 5 o'clock, which is an hour and a half away. So,
All right. Yeah.
So okay, Brad.
I think.
All I need is, as Brad will remember the tune, a little bit of toast, 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 a little bit of toast.
I don't actually.
No, don't you
you're making me
remember
more
that?
hungry.
No,
Mr. K,
hungry and knocked out.
I was watching Will's rants. I wasn't on Will's rants this morning, right? Because I was on Bob Spurs' show, right? And that whole Will Rants show turned up to be about food and self-defense.
Yeah.
I remember the other one.
football.
Pretty much.
I remember the other one.
Okay.
Yeah, Will's channel is the most organic of the lot.
Yeah, I remember the other one turned into Walgreens and CVS.
Well, this is what we were talking earlier about the YouTube sort of Spurs fans all around the world. Is that when I first started watching, as I say, the We Are Tottenham TV post-match show, and you had people like Will on, and I was sort of thinking, wow, this American guy knows a lot about football, or this young lad knows a lot about, he's talking so much sense, sort of thing. And it was a real insight to the worldwide support and how everyone, whether you go week in, week out, or whether you're watching 10,000 miles away, everyone are true Tottenham supporters and have something to say and generally speak a lot of truth. So yeah, it was quite incredible.
Hey, Brad,
I think that's brilliant.
What's the name of your YouTube? Because I've just typed in your name and it came up with some young American guy.
No,
Oh,
Brad doesn't have YouTube.
I haven't actually got a channel yet. I haven't sort of got into that yet. I imagine it would be around. It'll be something like. I mean, my Twitter name is Brad Hotspur.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Hotspur, yeah.
which
Not
I'm
boy, yeah? Brad,
I'm
right?
happy that no one doesn't sort of glint to that and think boy Hotspur, but no, it's Brad Hotspur.
Yeah.
I think I've actually added you then.
Yeah.
Brad, did you see that show then? The one I did last Sunday?
Yeah.
Yes, I did. Yes.
Oh,
I watched
has
it.
it
in the
become
comments, yeah.
infamous?
Yeah.
Has it become infamous?
I was watching it live, and as soon as the bad parts started happening, I left, and then I go back into Twitter, and everything's like, "Boy Hotspur blocking people," and I'm like, "What happened? I'm so confused."
Which is one of the
No, that
rare
one,
times because you're normally one of the few people that's got a clear mind.
Yeah, but if you remember that day, I was at my dad's tournament. I was in the middle of the field watching
Oh,
it. The
yeah.
connection was horrible, so I just decided to leave.
I told you earlier before we set up, Daniel does on the weekend exactly what I used to do with my dad 40 years ago. My dad would be in the goal playing his game, and I'd be walking around the pitch, snacking and whatever, and obviously not with the mobile phone. He's living my life in North London 40 years later in Florida.
Just a question, Daniel. You're in Miami, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to Miami.
Wow.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
the building.
Yeah. That was
the building
really, that was
fell,
horrible.
that crumbled or something like that, right?
In Dade County.
Yeah, my uncle's a firefighter, so he was there.
Oh wow.
It was a horrible scene.
Yeah.
Yusuf, have a good evening. No,
Yeah.
good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, it's in the morning, yeah.
Okay, enjoy your Sunday because we're about to start our Monday if we carry on much longer.
Bye-bye.
I think Yusuf here deserves a little shout out because for not being a Spurs fan, but to be interested in the drama that we're showing. We must be having some form of like compelling narrative.
Oh, Yusuf has been following us for some time now, right?
Yeah, Yusuf comes to my channel too. He's a great.
Yeah,
he's nice guy.
Big him up. Big him up.
Dubai or
big up to
something.
him. Yeah.
Is it
yeah.
Dubai?
And he's in Saudi. He say he's in Saudi, right?
UAE.
UAE or Saudi or something.
Well,
He's
it's
in the Middle East.
Yeah, it's evening over there.
Yeah.
It's
like
like 4
1
It's like
1 a.m. there.
in Saudi.
Oh no.
So
He's
it's
evening.
like 4:30. It's like 4:35 p.m.
4:30 now.
That's
Yeah,
not
4:35.
evening.
Yeah, it's like
That's late afternoon.
Yeah.
You want to be particular.
Yeah.
Okay. I need some toast.
Oh, no, I think we better not hold on to Brad for so long.
Everyone's trying to turn red here.
Please have something local. You know, like have a late
5 p.m. in Saudi. Yeah.
No. I'm talking about Brad. I want him to have a brunch of a full English with sausages, bacon,
lunch now.
fried toast, mushrooms.
Oh, come on. Omelets?
Black pudding, baked beans. And
Make sure it's better than
It
the.
won't be as good as that, but I have actually got some bacon in the fridge, and
Make
I've
sure
got corned beef, and I'm not a cook. I can't cook by any means, but if you put corned beef with cheese inside it and put it in the microwave for about a minute, it just melts it right, and it with the bacon, it's really nice.
That sounds too American. Just have a nice bacon sarnie, crispy.
Just make sure it's better than the hot dog
Yeah,
that you're
HP.
giving out for free.
Okay, Yusuf. See you soon. Thanks for hopping on. Bye, Yusuf.
Just make sure it's better than the free hot dog.
I think we
Daniel
better
was giving us.
wrap this up soon.
Sohan, can I ask a question if it's possible?
Yeah, sure.
Sohan, I haven't really come into the stream that much with yourself, and you're a Spurs fan, and I take it you're based somewhere in Asia.
Yeah, I'm from India.
India.
I'm from India.
Whereabouts in India are you from?
I'm from Bangalore.
Bangalore. Okay. Are there many Spurs fans in that part of the world, or are you the only one?
Okay.
We said last time. It's
Wait. So thing is that I said last time that the total number of Spurs fans in India would be around 500, and
Yes.
then I said the same thing in the Bangalore Spurs chat, and then I got absolutely blasted by pretty much everyone in that group because apparently I understated that number by quite a lot. So I went onto the India Spurs Facebook page, and that has like 25,000 likes. And even if half of them are like fans of other clubs who are just liking the page for the sake of just following the drama and stuff, even then the number will still come to be around 8,000-9,000 minimum, not 500. So I definitely understated the number last time by a big margin.
Maybe it just feels like that because you're in such a vast country. It's hard to work it out.
I was surprised by the amount of Spurs supporters in America.
Okay, guys.
The question which I wanted to ask, if it's possible.
Yeah. Sure, go ahead.
I wanted to ask, Sohan, is that from where you are in Bangalore and where you've been supporting and obviously being able to view the matches, live streams and so forth, and see Twitter world and see the YouTube and so forth. What impression have you got of the club Spurs and how it's been running or not running, in your opinion?
All right, look, so there are a few ways to answer this question. So when you're talking about running of the club, as a whole, the club as a whole, there are what should I say? There are multiple aspects of it. So one of the most important is obviously the on-pitch stuff, so performance stuff. I mean, that there's nothing really new to be said about that. It was good. It was going good. Then it's dipped for a while now, and the way the club's being run, it doesn't seem like it'll pick itself back up immediately. It'll take a few more years to get back to that. Financially, look, Levy has always been a very tight operator. So the one thing with that is we'll never go into debt. We'll never go into administration. So that's the one good thing. So it's not like a Rangers type of a situation where we'll just have to follow fourth division football after a few seasons because our club will get liquidated for 2 years. That's because of safety net. In terms of fan base, look, in terms of the Twitter stuff, I don't really have a Twitter account. I do not follow Twitter, which is probably the best.
Good man. Good
yes,
man.
I know. Yeah, I know Twitter is a bit of a shitstorm at times. So I avoided that on purpose. So I don't follow that.
So basically, from what I can gather that you said, one of the impressions that some people have when they're not local in the UK is the way Levy's handling of business as a businessman in terms of the word debt. So I think what you mean to say is that he won't allow the club to collapse under the debt.
Yeah, exactly.
Because all businesses need debt.
I mean,
and the
we
size
do
of
have
the
some
debt
debt
shows
right
how
now.
big this.
Guys, hold on for a while. Brett, are you okay still, or you just want to hop off?
I'm getting quite hungry at the moment. So
better let Brett hop off first, and we still can continue with this conversation. I don't want to hold Brett for too long. Brett, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
No problem.
Brad,
if you want to
wonderful.
jump on again, at the moment we're still just doing the 8 p.m. show, 1 p.m. GMT time show every Sunday. Feel free to hop on, message me, and we'll keep in touch. And Mr. K, I'll pass Brad's. If you want Brad's information, all that, I'll pass it to you. Then maybe you can link up with him and do a show or something with the Three Wise Men.
Brad, are you from the
have
UK?
It's brilliant.
Yes, he is. He is from North
I live in Ealing, which is in West London, which is mainly Chelsea. Well, actually, it's Brentford, actually.
Brentford.
Quite a lot of Spurs fans here. Certainly when I went to my local pub to watch Champions League games. But I've been working from home for a year and a half almost because of COVID. But my actual desk at the office actually overlooks the new Brentford football ground.
Maybe you can have a word with Ivan Toney.
Well, you know what? Actually, I was thinking this last night. The manager at Brentford, right? He's got one team. He almost got to the Premiership and developed all these good players. The next season, with almost a different team, got them to the Premiership. Watching Denmark play last night, they play really good football, and I'm thinking, hey, as a new Spurs manager, he certainly could be an option. I know they won't go for him, and he'll manage Brentford, obviously, but I thought that wouldn't be a bad call, certainly compared to what we're being sort of given at the moment. So a passing thought.
He'll turn us down because we have no ambition.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
We
Me
have
too.
ambition. We just have a chairman
that
is,
doesn't have ambition.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, Brad. Thank you a lot for coming
Thank
on.
you very much for having me.
We will
Nice to meet
catch
you
up
all
with
as
you
well.
the next time. Yeah. And sorry for holding you for so long.
That's okay. Okay, do I hit the lead?
We'll
Yeah.
continue, and you can. You want me to sign you out, or you know how to sign out yourself?
Yeah, because I need to charge my laptop up and all sorts of stuff. What I'll do is I'll put you on TV because I get YouTube on TV. So
Okay.
I'll do that.
We'll consider. All right.
each time you come on, please tell us what local food you're having. I want.
Oh, please. No, don't go there. This stream will
No,
end
no,
up for
come
5 hours.
Fish and
No,
chips.
no, I admit there's certain things you just can't get in Manila, and a good English breakfast is one of them.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've always
Wayne,
dreamt of having
Wayne,
fish and
Wayne
chips.
says that Brad lives down the road from him.
Oh right, wow, South Russell.
Yeah, Wayne,
Yeah.
you need to hook
Yeah,
up with
yeah.
Brad, and then we
Yeah.
can get you both on at the same time from the same place.
Yeah.
Actually, before I go, just one thing. There is I could be wrong here. I'm sure there's a Tottenham pub in South Ruislip. If you heard that, Wayne, just put a comment in. I'm sure there's a Tottenham pub in that area somewhere. It's
Maybe you
owned
can
by
meet
a
up
Tottenham fan. Yeah, I'm sure there is.
Yeah. Right. There's a good link up there, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
we Spurs fans must link up and unite. That's all.
Exactly.
And then we can get the
And
movement
Brad, you
on
need to-
and get the
you need
results
to-
we want.
Yeah. And Brad, you need to send pictures of that corned beef and cheese sandwich you're talking about.
Well, actually, no. I've actually got a photograph somewhere because my friend annoyingly he cooks stuff and he always puts stuff on Facebook. Oh, I've just cooked this sort of thing. It's really annoying.
Like
And so
bull.
one day I actually sort of counteracted by putting my corned beef and bacon stuff on there. So.
Okay.
Wayne has answered,
Forward
Brad.
it to me. It'll be
Wayne has
sustenance.
answered. Is it the Black Bull?
Sorry,
The Black Bull.
the Black Bull.
The pub you're saying.
I'll look. I'll have to look it up. Yeah. I'll look it up. I'm
Maybe
sure,
you're-
yeah. Thanks,
Wayne
Wayne.
heard you.
I'll
Yeah,
look
Wayne
that up.
heard you.
Yeah, no, thanks, Wayne. I'll look.
Yeah.
And I've seen Wayne. I've seen your name on all of the
All the channels. Yeah, Wayne is he gives the
Yeah,
best support.
yeah.
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 He's a super fan, and soon he'll be a super panelist.
Well, one of my girlfriends, Tony, we used to go to the games together. Tony Davenport. She now lives in Clapton. She's from South Russell as well. But Wayne probably knows her as well. So.
Is she related to Dan Davenport? That's another fan that's always on the chat.
No, she's got a brother who's also a Spurs fan as well, and we used to. I used to get back in the good old days. She used to get a lift to the game. So yeah.
Wayne says Black Bull on Victoria Road.
I will Google it.
All right. Okay. That'll be a good
Let's
meeting
make
point.
sure that's all you do. Don't get too.
Okay, Brad. I'll let you go. I have to let you go.
thanks
If not,
for
this will
having
go
me.
on for the next
Have
4
a great
hours.
breakfast.
Really brilliant.
Have a
Thank
good
you, everyone.
lunch and okay.
Brunch,
Catch up later.
brunch,
I'll
lunch.
message you.
Yeah.
Okay.
later, Brad.
Brunch. Okay, Brad. Take care.
Thank you for coming. Oh, he's gone.
Yeah. Okay.
all that talk of food.
He's hungry. I mean, he joined. I'm sure he hasn't had lunch yet. So, so okay. Let's get back to Soham and Mr. K.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna nip for some toast just for 2
Yeah, go.
minutes. So
Yeah,
I'll
go,
be
go.
back in a minute.
All right.
So
all right.
basically, basically
Yeah,
the gist
go
of
ahead.
my question, which I was trying to get to the next part of it, is basically as a fan from Bangalore, do you feel or do you understand some of the fans over here that say the word "enik out" or "levy out"?
Exactly. Of course.
How do you? I mean, is it? The thing is here, right? Yeah, is that this sense of having some form of ownership over the club as a fan, drives you to the point where you feel like saying "enik out, levy out," and then by saying that, you've brought some form of expression to the feeling that you have.
Right.
Okay,
right.
and it's quite a strong one to turn around and say that someone who owns a private company that sells a
Right.
particular brand,
Right.
that you as a consumer feel that you've got the right
Right.
to tell the
right.
people who own the business to
Right.
not own it anymore.
Not own it anymore. Yeah. Right. So I mean.
That's
like,
kind of. Think about that for a second in terms of business and consumer.
Of course. Yeah.
And look at it
Right.
from an international brand point of view, because you're in Bangalore,
Right, right.
if you were within touching distance of the club and you were born and brought up as a Spurs, then you would have some form of attachment to the actual fabric of the club, and say the club is nothing without you. How does the international fan relate with that?
A lot, actually. I mean, look, if you talk about international fans, there are two types. One who are like real fans of the club, who are like real supporters of the club to thick and thin, and the other half is glory hunters. And the thing is that for the last 10-15 years, we haven't really had a lot of glory. So we don't really have a lot of glory hunters, even in the international fan base. So what you have are mostly fans who are, while not, how can I put it? While we have not lived in the area of Tottenham, or we have not, like, what should I say? We have not visited games week in, week out, like many of the people here have, especially many of the people from England. We do feel a certain amount of connection with the club. Like, for my instance, I told my story last time around as well. Like, I started supporting the club because of Dimitar Berbatov. Like, Berbatov and Keane used to play at the time. So that's how I started. Just a sec. I'm just going to hop off for a second. I have a call to attend to, and I'll be back. All right?
Guys, I mean, the reason why, look, I mean, you guys are international fans as well, so I could be asking the same question of you guys.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
You know where I stand. Yeah. You know where I stand, right?
I do. But the thing is, what I want to understand.
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry.
Okay, there you go. You can continue.
All right. Yeah. So thing is that, with us, the thing is that we probably not relate. Someone's mic is echoing. Can someone just turn it off? Yeah, it's probably case. Yeah. Anyway, so we probably do not relate to it like in the way that you do, because again, you have just grown up with the club. This is like a part and parcel of your own existence, as it may be. It might not be as deep for us, but we still get it still hurts us when our team plays that, and we still really happy. We still feel really happy when our team does well. So there is a certain amount of emotional connection for us as well. The thing with the ENIC out thing is, it's like, yeah, we do support the ENIC out movement. We do not want ENIC in this club. Like the thing with the, all right, yeah, Brad. Okay, so anyway, so the thing is that, yeah, the thing with ENIC is they are doing like the bare minimum. So they're keeping the club afloat. They're keeping it financially stable. They are not really showing any sort of ambition in moving forward or taking to a next level. And even more importantly, that they are taking decisions which I think are alienating the core Spurs fan base even more. So especially the one that comes to your mind is the ESL one, joining the ESL. I don't think any Spurs fan local. There were some Spurs fans in the Bangalore Spurs group who wanted us to play the ESL, but that's because most of them grew up watching the UCL, and most of them joined when we were under Poch. So most of them joined at a time when we used to play in the UCL week in, week out. We used to duke it out against the best of the Euro. So I think many of the newer supporters, they probably took it for granted, and that's why they wanted us to join the ESL. But fans of the club who have been around for a long time, and I mean international fans as well, not only the local ones, everyone realized that this was a bad step. ESL is basically alienating a football club from its roots, from its source, from where it originated from. So I think our international fan, all local fan, everyone was against that. And then another point that's gone against ENIC in the recent one is obviously this entire farce of a manager search that's been going on. So yeah, I think it often feels like that it's wrong to say that ENIC runs the club in certain aspects. It really feels wrong to say that ENIC runs the club as much as just Daniel Levy doing whatever he wants to do. And it's certain times it just feels like it doesn't make the best decisions. Like even when he appointed Paratici, like it's not a blemish against Paratici's record. Like he's done a really good job at Juventus. Admittedly, it's Juventus. He can get pretty much every other Serie A player that he wants to, but still, he did a decent job there. Apparently, as it's turning out that Paratici wants a more defensive style of play at Spurs, and Levy wants a more attacking style of play, which the fans want as well. So at this point, you have to feel like, all right, why weren't these things discussed before appointing Paratici? It's like there's no direction, there's no particular direction, there's no particular vision that this club has moving forward. So I think that is another issue that's really going against ENIC right now. And I mean, yeah, there have been issues in the past as well, like the extremely high prices of the high ticket prices. From what I've heard from the local fans, of course, it doesn't affect us sitting miles away in India and Asia and where not. But of course, it's a big issue for the local fans. That's another issue. I mean, these are things that they do with which they are alienating their core fan base even more and more. So I think the ENIC out movement as a whole right now is just like a culmination of all these factors coming together over all these years. So I think it's not just one thing that caused this to happen. It's like a lot of things that came together and made this happen. So yeah, it's something like that. So in terms of like where the international fans stand on this, most of them are actually ENIC out. In spite of us thinking that it keeps the club up, they keep the club afloat or whatnot, most of our are actually ENIC out.
I mean, do you have? I mean, Sohan, your national sport in your country is cricket,
right?
And you've got this. You got sort of similar Super League as well that's going on there, right?
Right.
And they've changed the game and the structure to make it a lot more exciting, one day-ish. Keeping it within the context of a crowd. So the type of fans that go and support them, they have the same type of passion that you guys have about Spurs. If you were living locally,
it depends. Yeah, I'll say I know people who definitely have that kind of passion, and I also know people who just look at IPL as like I don't know, for the lack of a better way to say this, just a way for the owners to get some black money out of their like accounts or something. So it's something like that. So,
but would you say that those fans? I mean, would you say those IPL fans that are very, very passionate about their cricket team and their so-called club, and they feel very passionate, they'll get colours on, they'll go out there, they'll make noise, they'll hate the rivals and so forth, and they've obviously it's been around for a while now, that there's a legacy being built. Okay, the people that started supporting it when it first started have probably got children by now that they're taking to the games and introducing them and giving them the T-shirts and putting colour on their cheeks and so forth. Now, in terms of those fans, do you think their owners, as corrupt as they are, why are their fans not turning on them saying we want you out?
So here's so there's a lot of difference between like the what should I say, how the English football clubs were founded and how these teams were founded. Usually with most of the English football clubs, it's just a group of people who come together. It's not necessarily some big businessman or some big business tycoon, some big powerful like financially, like what should I say, some big honcho who comes together to just suddenly start off franchisee and start off like buying players and shit and nothing like that. For most of the clubs, it's just a group of normal people, everyday people who came together to form a football club in their region, and from there it just grew and grew and grew to the point where they are today. You look at us, you look at even the most popular club in England, like Manchester United. Even they started with just like bunch of railway workers, I think. Railway workers, or was it something like that? The story goes something like that. I don't remember the exact details. In India, it wasn't like that. So IPL didn't come about from like local fans who wanted to like okay, we'll make our local cricket club, and then it like goes through divisions and becomes a big thing. No, it didn't happen like that. It was started entirely as like this franchisee-based sports project. It was started entirely as this franchisee-based sports project. So what happens is that these owners, they own the teams right from the start. And so what happens is that the fans get used to this owners right from the start. So the thinking here is not that the fans, like in England, like with you guys, you have the feeling that the club, Tottenham Hotspur, the football club, it belongs to you guys. It belongs to the fans. In India, since the teams were started, since these franchises were started by the owners, the businesses, the fans do not feel that way. For the fans, it's like, all right, let's say Mumbai Indians. Mumbai Indians are the most successful IPL team. The fans with the Mumbai Indians, all right, they are a team of the Reliance company, of the Reliance group. We are just fans of the team. We do not own the team. You do not have that kind of, what should I say, almost like an ownership of almost like emotional ownership of that club that you have with like Tottenham or pretty much any other football club in Europe. So you don't have that factor here. So even when the team does poorly, the most that fans will probably do is like, all right, they'll throw on social media about, okay, we did not pick the right players, we did not buy the right players, we should do a better recruitment job next time, blah blah blah, that. No one goes after the owners because in their mind it's ingrained that the club, or rather the team, the franchise, not clubs here, the team belongs to the owners and we are just fans. I think there's like the mindset of the fans here is much more different compared to the mindset of the core, like, or the local Tottenham Hotspur. So yeah, I think that's what the difference.
Right, so from what you've described, Sohan, so far, right? Yeah, you can hear me clearly, right?
Right. Yeah, I can.
So what you described so far, right? Yeah, is that basically those cricket players that were playing for these IPL teams when they first opened up, they were playing for another cricket team before that.
Thing
And
is that
those
we did
cricket
not
teams that-
have any.
I mean, what I'm
We did
saying
not
is that
have any cricket teams before that. So earlier we just had sort of like.
I'm not talking about the cricket teams. I'm talking about the players.
Alright. Okay.
Right?
Okay.
The players played cricket somewhere before the IPL opened. They didn't, it's like they brought in players that could play. And these players were originally playing for maybe a county team somewhere or somewhere else in the world, right? So if you look at the ESL, at the franchise system there, as a brand which is global, being pushed to new markets like the Middle East and so forth, and everywhere else in the world, the fans which are going to come on are going to be those type of fans you just described, and they're going to buy the merchandising, they're going to pay per view because they're around the world. So if they were sitting in the stadium, or if they're not sitting in the stadium, they're paying about the same amount. Maybe they might pay a little bit more in the stadium. Who knows? But my point is this: if you had 10 of those fans watching, you would not need 1 or 2 people sitting in the stadium to equate the same amount of money. So the idea in the business model is to create those type of fans you've just described, who can be passionate, who can wear the colors, who can talk about rivals, no matter where they are in the world, but they're not going to complain that the team that just got the ESL that just got formed is an evil institution. They're just going to know, okay, billionaires, rich people do this, and this is a brand I like, and this is the team I like to watch, and this is the shirt I like to wear. Now, if say, for example, 500,000 UK fans decide not to support Tottenham anymore,
they'll get 5 million fans from all over the world.
Jamie, just say in the UK, right? 500,000 fans, right? Is a lot of fans, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But if, for example, you picked up 5 million fans for pay-per-view, would you give a bananas?
Levy wouldn't.
Exactly. If it's money.
I mean, look, from a business standpoint, you would not. I think the big reason.
This prospect.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think what you're showing, what you're telling me, is something very important, because this ESL, this franchising, is not that well understood as a concept of model business in the United Kingdom. And the fans here do not realize the danger that they're in, because this concept, this particular ESL, has been formulated for the last 10 years. They're not just going to give it up. They're going to spend another couple of years rebranding it and repolishing it and finding better ways for it to be integrated and accepted in the initial stages of the fan group. If after that the fan group decide to leave, that's up to them, because they'll have picked up millions of more fans and viewers.
Paris says all the clubs haven't left. They're still bound by a contract.
Right. So, the way I look at it is that I really wanted to understand how fans in Bangalore, how different are they from many other fans? And I don't think you're any different whatsoever. I think you're exactly the same as me. You feel exactly the same way I do. There's people down the road that are also Spurs fans. They feel the same way as the other half. So I think this particular ideology that the international fans and the local fans are any different is a myth, and it's been a division that's been created artificially to prevent us from knowing what's on the other side of the fence, to prevent the fans from talking to one another. And it's beautiful that I happen to come here.
So the thing is that I would not really say that it's an artificially created barrier or something like that. I think it's almost like, how should I put it? Like, if you have a product that you're like regionally proud of, and then you have spent your entire life, you have families who are behind that product or concept, whatever, however you put it. You have like generations who are into that. You feel a sense of connection towards it naturally, like we have towards this football.
Maybe, Zohan, but let me explain something to you, because you're not on Twitter, that you're not exposed to, right? And that is basically, when people go into social media, they generally tend to choose some sort of nickname or a calling card, mine is Mr. K, or it could be something else.
Right.
Now, what I've seen is a phenomena occurring amongst fans which are generational fans, who have decided that in their name handle, they're going to write the word in very large capital letters, saying the word legacy.
Okay.
Okay. Now that's a clear signal to somebody that says, I'm legacy, you're not. Now, you're telling me that just organically happened by the fan base, that they decided to create a separation that's happened recently over the last few years? I mean, what threat did these fans feel from other fans that they need to start labeling themselves as legacy?
Okay, so in terms of like threat, I think the fact that ESL can exist as a concept, that in itself validates the fear that they have. So they are afraid that since these international fans are now coming up, who have in at least in their mind, who do not have this kind of attachment that they have had towards this club for their generations, that their families have had, they fear that these international fans who do not have the attachment, they can provide the monetary incentive to Tottenham Hotspur or any other football club in the ESL. They can provide that monetary incentive for them to ignore these generational fans and move on to the new fans. I think that is a point that they are threatened from in their minds. But okay, so in terms of like the things that you asked, so so let's start with the cricket question that you had. So before the IPL, we did not really have any domestic league. So unlike the county league that you have in UK for cricket, we do not have anything like that. We did not have anything like that in India prior to the IPL. We just had our Ranji Trophy, which is like group stages followed by knockout matches, and that's it. And it's like Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy for the limited overs cricket, but that was it. No one ever watched any of those. Thing is, after that, the IPL came out, and yeah, look, I'll not blame it because IPL was in a way necessary because again, we did not have any structured league in India at all. Unlike UK, which already has a very well constructed football pyramid, all the way from the first tier to like the 13th or 14th tier, which is like the lowermost in England. We did not have any such structure in India. So IPL was a necessity in that way. So the context for Indian cricket and English football, European football for that matter, are quite different in my opinion. Now coming to the matter of the ESL thing. So in terms of why people perceive this to be an evil thing, of course, one big thing was that these clubs would always be in there. There would be like no qualification criteria. These clubs would be there year after year, what should I say? How should I put it? How you're performing in that tournament won't really matter. You'll still
Based
continue
on
to
merit.
be in there. Yeah. The merit point. That merit point goes out of the window, which indirectly threatens like the whole, what should I say? The whole legitimacy of the pyramid system. Where if a team performs good enough, they can climb up to a higher level. If the team does not perform well enough, they will go down to a lower level. That thing just goes straight out the window with something like the ESL. You have like 12 or 13 teams which will always be there. Look at Arsenal. How about Arsenal in the ESL with the form that they have shown over the last 3 years? At least we have been in a Champions League final. When was the last time they played a Champions League match? Like, is that kind of thing? Like, so that is one of the things, and the other is, like I said, there was the local fans, the fans who have supported these clubs for years and years, even though like even Indian or even someone like Eugene, even he has supported the club for like 30 years now, like 30, 40 years, somewhere around that time. Yeah, I've been a supporter for much less. I've been a supporter for like 12, 13 years now. But anyway, yeah, even I've been a supporter for a long time. But to the average Englishman who is not probably aware of the who is not probably aware of the reach that these clubs are having in the Asian countries, the African countries, basically countries outside of Europe. To them, we pose a threat. We pose a threat in terms of monetary terms. That, like, all right, the club can now choose to ignore us fans who have supported the club for generations, and now they can cater to these new fans who have more money to offer them us. I think that's another point that threatened them a lot. So I think, it's a combination. Yeah.
So I'm just hold on. Daniel, you have to leave?
Not yet. In a little bit.
Okay, he's going to get some more cinnamon toast.
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually have the box here.
No. I used to go to America every summer for my holidays for about 5 years straight. So he has treasure in his pantry.
Yeah, the Lucky Charms ran out. That's usually my go-to cereal.
The chocolate Lucky Charms is my choice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So Daniel, if you have to leave,
o'clock
just
here
let
in
us
the
know.
UK.
Right?
Alright.
Yeah.
But on the
Guys, it's 4
terms
o'clock
of
here in the UK. I have to make a move, unfortunately.
Yeah, you have to
I have
take
to
your
go. No, it's because it's mainly 4 o'clock. I've got to take my son swimming. So
yeah, that's fine.
I was really enjoying this little chat, and I think
we'll get together again another time.
Yeah,
all right?
I mean, some of the questions which I'm asking is basically trying to understand a little bit more of what I don't know. and some of it is to reaffirm things that I do know. But while all this process is going on, it gives the audience and the viewers an opportunity to maybe learn a thing or two about what's happening on the other side of the water, if they are watching from the European side.
Right.
That fans everywhere around the world, because of social media, because of technology, because of streaming, it's like they could be sitting in West London watching a stream of what's happening at White Hart Lane. The same as you could be sitting in Bangalore and doing exactly the same thing.
Exactly.
And the passion that you're sharing, the feelings, the excitement, the disappointments, the woes, and the highs. It's all felt by all the fans around the world at the same degree as the fans in the UK or Europe. It's the same degree. Some will feel a lot, some will feel less, but it's exactly the same proportions everywhere. Passion is passion. Human beings are human beings. Attachment is attachment. Watching someone that you call your team, your side, go into a form of battle or go into a competition against another group, and you're willing them on with your heart, it's a shared collective feeling that we all do individually, but it counts together. And I think that's the main thing which I'm getting out of this. Is that there is such a wide, more togetherness. If we can connect with more people like yourself, Zohan, like all the other people which are here as well, and the viewers which are watching, if we can start to create more content where we can start to talk to one another more, we can learn more, and we can, enlighten our minds a lot more. And hopefully, by your actions, you can inspire other people to do the same as what you're doing in their journey.
Yeah.
And hopefully collect a bunch of people together that have different attributes. A person like you, Jamie, is always required in every group. Someone who's going to be very calm, someone who's going to bring down the temperature, someone who's wise enough and seen enough. Then there's going to be people like Eugene, who are the real thinkers in this, who know the depth of what we're really up against, and they have a calculation in their mind, and they don't think it's impossible because they've seen things bigger than this fall down through collective effort. And then we got the younger generation coming through, like the Yud kid, coming through and being articulate. He's called Daniel. Hello, Daniel. I just know you as the Yud kid. Sorry, in that case. But as I was saying, we also see the younger generation. So putting them into the mix is also important as well, because sometimes you can have the emperor's clothes.
Yeah.
You can be conditioned without realizing. You can be biased. You can have cultural bias around you without realizing. And sometimes you need that kid to come up and say, "Oi, that guy's got no clothes on," in order to make you stop and think. And sometimes you can come across people like Zohan, for example,
with passion,
who have an incredible
zeal,
depth of knowledge. The knowledge, I know, it's just the knowledge I'm flabbergasted by. The articulation of that knowledge. And this is a real wonder that exists everywhere. Little gems like Zohan, where they don't just have this knowledge, they have the ability to articulate it. Let's bring these collective types of people together. Let's get them set up. Let's spread this network. Let's have more voice. Let's have more consensus through understanding and knowledge and education. Because we're up against a lot of people that don't feel like we do. And we feel like we're few. As Luqman said after the first protest that I went to, he said, "We are a minority." And in my heart, I said to myself, "No, I don't feel that. I don't feel that. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give into this battle because my heart feels something. And just because my eyes can't see it doesn't mean I'm going to trust my heart on this." And that's how I took my step forward. I mean, I told Eugene at the beginning, I said, we know how hard this is and we know how long it's going to take and we are prepared for it. True. Is everyone else?
Yep.
And other people, they weren't prepared for that. They got disappointed. They got upset. And they felt like resigning from this movement. And I think to myself, on reflection, people will realize that their initial gut feeling was correct. Because Levy has done his absolute level best to show himself up and make us look like laughing stocks to the entire world, to managers, to footballers, to other fan groups who no longer laugh at us, they now pity us. They feel sorry for us.
I don't think we've
I mean,
got
they-
to the sorry stage yet. They're still laughing at us. Probably they'll feel sorry for us once we start
Yeah.
playing. But right now, they're
I
still
mean-
laughing at us. They have
Zohan,
not gone
Zohan,
past
I'm
the
in East
laughing stage.
London. Zohan, listen to me. I'm in East London. I'm in Hammers territory. Right?
Okay.
I grew up in
Alright.
West Ham grounds. Okay, all
Right.
my friends are West Ham friends. And they no longer take the piss anymore. They stopped. They stopped about 2 weeks ago.
Really?
Mr.
Really?
K, it's nothing compared to my situation. My dad's a City fan. My uncle's
Oh,
a United fan. My tia is
I
a
bet he
Chelsea
says we're
fan.
coming for Kane. I bet he says we're coming for Kane.
Literally, I have a teacher
But
that's a
listen,
gunner.
I wanna
My neighbor's a Leicester
I'm going to
fan.
sign off now. I'm sorry, guys. I've
Yeah.
given it a bit
Okay,
of a
all
long
right.
speech.
okay.
But if
We'll
you're
catch up with you
listening
later,
out
Mr.
there,
K.
please
All right.
like and subscribe to this channel.
Yeah.
Definitely like and
Spurs Asian
subscribe to the
TV.
Yid Kid.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the Yid Kid too. And it's an absolute pleasure meeting all of you guys.
All right.
All the best. Take care. Come
Okay,
on, you
Mr. K.
Spurs.
Come on, you
Come on,
Spurs.
you Spurs.
Come on,
Yeah.
Spurs.
Okay.
Okay, guys. I'll be ending
so,
this.
Well, just
Um,
one thing.
I'll
I
be
think
en-
some.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead,
So,
go ahead.
I think you should be our point guy in South Asia. You can rally the troops.
No, yeah, that's what I know. When I end the channel, okay, we'll be you guys hang out in the back room and we'll have a chat there because this stream has gone on for about 3 hours.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
my record, our record stream
Yeah.
for the time being, and
You said
we
it would
had
go on
about
another hour.
yeah, and yeah, that's why I said we'll go on for another hour. And we've had the most viewers at one time, nearly 10, and that's also our highest. And we have picked up a few more subscribers. Thank you for all the subscribers. I will put you in the back room first, and I'll do the outro, and then I'll come back to you guys. Okay? Just stay
Alright.
behind.
Okay.
Don't leave yet. All right? All right.
Alright,
Just stay
alright.
behind first, huh? All right. All right, Jamie. Good show today.
Yep. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think the fact is it's the fact that 3 hours has gone by. It doesn't feel like 3 hours. So
Yeah.
we've just got to get more people smashing like, more people subscribing.
Yeah, we have to build it slowly.
yeah, we have
Slowly,
to
we will
build
build it. Yeah.
Yeah.
If we build it, they will come. That's what I always believe. Right.
Field
So-
of dreams.
Yeah, Field of Dreams. Remember that. All right, Jamie. I'll put it out too for a while I do the outro. All right. I'll see you later in the back. Okay, guys. Thank you for being on for so long, and hopefully you watch it right to the end. Please do subscribe and like the channel. All right, and we'll be back again most probably the next Sunday. If anything new comes up, I will let you know. All right, and come on, you Spurs.